Well, okay. What time is it? It's 7 o'clock.
It
It
is
is now
7
7 o'clock.
a.m.
Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
I'm Lee Barris.
You didn't sound enthusiastic there, Kelly. You want to try
I
that
don't feel
again?
good today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's not that kind of sick.
Isn't it a nice day for the beach?
Yeah.
To go see Dr. Wave.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
What?
I need to go
To go see Dr. Wave. I have an appointment with Dr. Wave.
What's the
Kelly and I are going.
Dr. Wave.
WAVE.
I understand what you're talking about. That's in the Navy, right?
No, it's in the ocean,
Well,
as in beach.
Uh-huh.
We
Well,
need to go visit Dr. Wave.
I was going to save this for a little bit, but I may as well not save it right now since y'all brought it up.
Okay.
You'll mess with you. It's just when it's almost time, and it is already time for a lot of folks out there to get almost naked and head for the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Bikini time, right? The CDC is issuing a warning.
Oh, gosh.
About what?
Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. Not that they're going to be meaner this year. It's just that they might be carrying a potentially deadly disease, one that was supposed to have been wiped out a couple of 100 years ago.
What is?
It's
What
called dengue fever.
I was just getting ready to say that. I thought.
Has popped up around the world, including Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So those of you who have been out there or are planning to go on a little trip down into one of those tropical locations, beware. Wear things that repel mosquitoes, like
Clothes.
clothes would work, but those those little
cover.
suckers can actually get you through some thin clothing.
Yes, I've had that happen.
Uh-huh.
100% know that's true. Yes.
And watch what you wear as far as your perfume. They like sweet stuff.
Well, they like me because I am sweet. Just in general.
Robin, would you like to weigh in on this? No, don't, Robin. That could be dangerous.
He knows he ain't trying to die today.
I understand what she's saying. If there's a mosquito within a 5-mile radius, I'm going to get spit.
Same. And my daughter, they don't touch her. I ought to say something right there. I'm just saying.
So she didn't carry on the trait.
She didn't get the sweet gene.
Uh-huh.
I'm with Kelly because I remember we had a 2-story house, so my husband would open up the windows on the second story and sleep with fresh air coming in.
Oh, I like that.
I'd wake up in the middle of the night, just welts all over me, just
because they can come
eaten
in
alive by
It's aggravating.
They even come in through the small ones will come in and grow even through that really tiny screen wires.
And then it's like,
Oh, and then then it's on.
I'm gonna put up electric screens.
You ever had
like those zappers?
You ever had those little fly swatters that you can buy those in a lot of places? Oh,
yes.
You've never seen those? You
I've
push a
seen them.
button and
they zap
when
it.
you reach out and I bought one down in the islands one year. I don't know where it is. You probably need to get it out. But everything is open there, right? So
Right.
bugs are here, there, and everywhere. They're not bad because during the day the wind is blowing. Always trade winds. However, at nighttime, if you go back into your place, wherever it is, and somebody's left the stupid door open for a minute, you're going to have a room full. But you can take those they look like fly swatters, and push the button. It's got a battery in it, and start swinging it, and you'll hear it when it hits something. You might not even be able to see them. Zip.
oh, I need to get one of those. No,
I mean, they're
have
fun
that.
to use if nothing else.
I can
Just
see
go
us
in through,
now.
go in through the room and start swiping it.
So
We need to
I'll come
slapping
and draw beat up.
ourselves. Face swollen.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the CDC has marked dengue fever as a level 1 health alert, urging the public to practice usual precautions. Those include avoiding mosquito bites. Well, guess what? Yes, no kidding. They want you to use an EPA-registered insect repellent. Wear long-sleeve shirts and long pants when outdoors. Sleep in a room that has air conditioning or screened windows. Okay, well, the screened windows, make sure there are no little holes in them. It doesn't take much. And make sure you got that tiny little screen on the window.
You're making me itch now.
I've already
I've already
started. Many countries have reported a higher than usual number of dengue cases last year and already this year. Those places that have warmer climates than we have. Might be a good time, too, around these here parts to take some action on your property. First thing, walk around your lot, empty out any water that might be standing. Old tires, they're notorious. Garbage can lids, any lids that have a little lip on them. It only takes less than a quarter inch of water for mosquito eggs to hatch, and then it's on.
What about those little fish ponds in your yard?
Is the water moving? No.
There's water in
There's
it.
water in it. It's got like a little waterfally
Well,
thing.
the fish, if you got fish in it, they'll at least eat the mosquitoes, you hope.
I feel like I've been bit.
You need a yard full of mosquito eating
I just
fish.
wanted to put one of those little ponds in there, but now I'm second guessing my thought
Can I do
here.
something about the big ditch behind my property that the
Fill it
city
up.
has in there? Oh, it's got water in it.
The one beside my house does too, and the city claims it's not their job
I mean,
to.
fill it up with
clean it.
dirt.
I wish.
No, if those ditches are there to for drainage
Right.
purposes.
We know. Yeah.
And if stuff gets caught in there, people's lots and houses and things downstream
Yes.
of down
We know.
down the stream will end up flooding, and
I'm
you don't want that
itching
to
now.
happen.
Thank
I
you.
know, me too.
Wow.
I shouldn't have
What's
even
wrong
looked
with
at this
I
story.
feel like they're in my hair.
I
Okay,
just-
mosquitoes lay their eggs, and when they hatch in that little bit of water, you know what happens then?
I don't
More
know.
mosquitoes.
More
More
mosquitoes.
skeeters.
The slapping season gets underway because you hear people, and you hear them in movie theaters, you hear them everywhere. People are slapping.
Well,
I
last
just
year,
scratch mine till they bleed because they just
yeah,
itch.
I know. I get welts. Well,
Yeah.
last year I just didn't go out after 4 o'clock because early evening is when they come out.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're just
If
there.
the wind dies down, they'll come out.
They're jumping on your skin,
They,
biting at you.
They will attack you. Well, you know, they issue a level 1 health alert by the CDC.
Oh, now we're all going to have
I need to
malaria.
do
And just,
I had malaria as a kid. I was
Oh.
less than 2 years old. They
I was
told
out
me.
working in the backyard over the weekend, and I've got some tree branches and
Mhm.
some bush weed stuff that grows tall and kind of over the top of the fence. So I started trimming that, and I'm just more worried about ticks, not mosquitoes.
Well, yeah, one tick you can find usually.
So I'm telling you, I can't take it. I'm itchy now.
Well,
Oh God. Thank you. I may need it.
Oh yeah, I got one of those at the house. Oh God, the cat scared the crap out of me.
I thought it was big
I
rat,
thought the
didn't
cat was under there.
he? He was, but he's
Oh.
out.
Hey, kitty.
Come here, baby.
So anyway, yesterday we had some critters outside, the barkers.
Yeah.
They wanted to come in. They were mad.
Yeah, they
We
were
can't
mad.
come in here because of her.
No, that's right.
Yeah, that we'd have to go
Is
off
it-
the air for that cat
Yeah,
fight.
because she will win. She
Yeah.
take them all down.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, that was a neighborhood watch meeting yesterday
Is that
morning.
what it was?
That's
Is that
what
what
it
that
was.
was?
Yeah,
Okay.
the neighborhood watchdogs were.
Mhm.
Well,
So they're up now. And
watchdogs generally, when my wife is here, she secures them after
Yeah.
when the show starts and
Mhm.
might let one out at a time. Like
Shocky
Shockwave's
will
okay.
yeah, Shocky will
He'll
come
come
up
down here and get up on the couch, a futon, and stay there.
and he goes
No
to
big
sleep.
And he sleeps. We've still got our clothing.
Yes,
Still
my,
got stuff over there.
my
Keep
jacket's
all- I
still
mean,
over there too.
Jacket
we
and
keep
I got a
every floor.
blanket.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yesterday had 3 of them outside.
Uh-huh.
Was it only 3?
Yes.
When I looked, it was 2, but yeah, but there was 3. Even Jake got in the fray.
Yeah, and
And you can't let one in and not let the other. They look at you like, how come I'm not worthy?
Cuts your
Well,
soul.
now they've
Yeah.
all been secured inside. Oh wait,
Yes.
they can't get out,
They didn't like it.
and may have to go let them out later on.
Well, Shockwave's gonna be mad at you for the rest of the day for that. Just
It's
so
okay.
you know.
I'll hiss at him like the cat does.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, there is a burn ban in Onslow County.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes,
I want you to understand
statewide.
that. Statewide, but statewide, let me explain to you how the state works.
Mhm.
Statewide ban does not include your property up to closer than 100 feet of your house.
Mhm.
In other words, the state ban, I could go out here and set fire to something if it was only a state ban.
But the county.
The
issued
county
it.
has issued a countywide ban
Yep.
that went into effect last Friday
Mhm.
afternoon sometime. Why is there a burn ban? Well, might have something to do with having no rain and all those winds that we're having, the gusty winds,
Yes.
March winds. Think about it. Burn your stuff in January when all the leaves are dead and there's nothing out there that fire's going to spread, the winds are down. Just pay attention. Even if there is no official ban in place, when you walk outside and you say, this stuff is really dry everything's so dry around here. And
Yeah.
that wind, where'd that wind come from?
Use some common sense, folks.
And listen
Come on
to
now.
us in the mornings when we say it's going to be gusty. It might not be
Mhm.
blowing at all when you first walk out there, but when you see suddenly you see the top trees over there go,
Mhm.
then a wind gust has come up. Common sense. Do not be burning stuff under conditions. Well, in Oslo County,
Oh, goodness.
some folks are not paying attention. Firefighters responded to a number of trash fires, even though they started out as small fires.
Mhm.
A gust of wind will send hot tinders into nearby woods, even onto your home. Imagine onto those asphalt shingle roofs. Have you ever put an old shingle in a fire and watched that sucker burn? It's like slow burning kerosene.
I can
No.
honestly say I have
I
not.
have
You
not
haven't?
either. I never even thought about
Have
doing
you-
that.
have
Just
you-
saying.
Have you ever
Yeah.
been to these fires where they're clearing road or land for roadways and seen these big piles of trash there that they're burning?
That they're smoldering.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know-
All you see is smoke.
you know where it's how they set those fires? They take tires, kind of like asphalt shingles,
Oh,
and they set
gosh.
them on fire underneath. They burn slow and hot. That's how they get those fires started.
Hmm.
Imagine one of those tinders, piece of paper, falling onto your dry asphalt shingles because there's no rain. They're not wet. Imagine that happening. Imagine that roof going up. It does. This was the case when a fire that was thought to be contained wasn't. Tanya Torney, I have no clue how to pronounce it, is a resident of Jacksonville who said she knew nothing about the band. She had not heard anything about it. She threw her trash into a fire that she started near the house. Her neighbors, while she was in the shower a short time later, were beating on her door. She was inside, obviously, in the shower, not watching what was going on outside,
Oh my Lord.
telling her that her whole yard was ablaze. Firefighters responded, as they have done 50 other times since this ban went into effect last week.
Mm-hmm.
They put it out. Her home sustained some damage. About 24 warning citations have been issued since the ban was put into place
Good.
last week.
As it should be.
Only problem is they are warning citations.
I think I'll just fine them. When there's a burn ban, you don't get a warning. It's it.
If there's a burn ban and you have deliberately set a fire,
Yep.
you should have to pay for the equipment response.
Yes,
everything.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, there should be
Yep.
a fine.
I agree.
Figure out how much it costs
Mhm.
taxpayers and other people who make donations to those volunteer fire departments.
I agree.
Find out.
I
And
agree.
that's what it should be. That's just my personal
I
opinion.
heard they
For what it's worth.
I'm for it.
They answered quite a few calls over the weekend. My
50.
understanding is 50. Oh, God.
That's what I'm saying.
50 since the ban began.
Spread the word if you need to know if there's a burn ban. Watch us every morning, Monday through
Yeah.
Friday.
And
We'll
even
let
if
you
there's
know.
no burn ban,
Mhm.
Right.
when we say,
Check.
like
windy.
I'm going to say in just a minute, and you're going to say
Yep.
too,
Yep.
well, they're going to be quiet today, winds, but so
see
far,
that.
Tomorrow's going to be gusty.
gusty
I'm looking
winds.
at it
When
now.
you've got
Yeah.
winds that are reported to be gusty, it's a lady there. Why don't you invite her in?
What?
She came through the fence, but I think she just left the gate.
I never heard anything.
What are you
Because you're not
talking
listening.
about?
off.
We have a visitor. There she is, standing right behind the door where you can't see her. You don't believe me, do you?
Well, if you don't believe nothing you say, because
Well,
I've
look now.
learned my lesson.
Well, look now. What do you see now?
Okay.
Okay, so we do have a guest. Our guest, our 7:30 guest, is here. And we'll be chatting with her in just a couple of minutes or so. But anyway, gusty winds,
Hmm.
gusty. That means it can be blowing nothing,
Right.
and then suddenly a big gust will come through.
That's what.
It changes. Those gusts are generated when there's cold and warm temperatures meeting real suddenly. And cold means it could be just 5 degrees cooler than the warm temperature. And it could just, they hit and winds are generated. You've seen the little dirt devils happen, I'm sure.
Sure have. Saw one recently, matter of fact.
Those things happen.
Yep.
So
I like to watch them.
Pod me up.
they're tiny little tornadoes.
They are. I like
Tornadoes in the making.
See if I can
So that's what you're doing. What are
get
you
this.
doing?
I'm trying to rearrange because I wanted to say something about the fires. Remember that big fire in South Carolina that burned over 2,000 acres?
Yeah.
Homes and lots of things. Well, they arrested a 40-year-old woman who started a fire in a Covington Lake neighborhood in the Myrtle Beach area. She had initially built the fire on March 1st in a backyard fire pit
Oh, Lord.
before it got out of control and reached the woods. Yep. An arrest warrant said that when she started the fire, she did not have an appropriate water source readily available.
That's the other thing. If
People do that a lot.
even if you got a burn barrel, you think that's cool, get yourself a piece of screen wire and put over the top of it. After
That's
you start
right.
it, why? Because those. Are you ever set a fire and you see all those papers come out that are actually on flame and on fire, and they just go flying off into the woods?
True.
Dumb.
Put some kind of a piece of screen wire over the top of it, an old window screen or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, really.
that will
A
help you
metal.
there. Well, yeah, plastic
Don't-
ones not a good plan. I
Well,
mean,
people
I don't.
just-
Well, I would say that would go without saying, but you know,
Right. Well, no, if you burning, you shouldn't be burning, then you probably would be putting the wrong thing on there. Too.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, and you know what? I did order some of those blankets for fires.
I gave one to each of one of my kids and
Very
a
good.
friend, and I've got them in my house. I sure
I
did.
gave one to my sister.
Fence of Fire, Marshall.
Have you looked
right
behind you?
Yeah, I got that too.
I
Yeah, I've got
two
that
of them
too,
sitting there
but
just in
I
case.
did order
And throughout the house.
for when he was in here. What was it? What was that?
It was like
nickname?
2 or 3 months
Yeah.
ago, and I ordered them while he was in here.
I did too.
And then I ordered the hooks that stick on the wall, and you hang them on
Right.
there. And I got them.
Do they come in colors?
There's red.
You know, if you could, well, red would
It's
be
in
good.
a pouch, though. It's
Speaking
very
of
cute.
colors,
Why
why,
not
is
put them in a
pollen
pouch?
yellow? Why can't it be pink?
I agree.
Kelly?
I agree with that statement. Why is
You
pollen
brought
yellow?
up color, and it just hit me. Why is pollen yellow? Why can't it be pink?
Mhm.
You know, we have a guest that's going to get up and run
Blue.
away in a minute. She's gonna say, there's at least two people here who are nuts.
What do you think about it? Everything is yellow outside.
It's so gross. So
Well, if
gross
it was all
outside.
pink, that would be kind of pukey, wouldn't it? Kind of like
Well,
Pepto-Bismol.
not pink.
blue,
Pepto-Bismol.
something.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be yellow? My black truck is yellow.
Mine is
Well, then you
disgusting.
should have bought a yellow truck in the first place. Then you
Don't
wouldn't
start
even
on
notice
me.
it.
I went in to get a
think-
service Friday and got so harassed by certain salespeople who wanted me to trade it in already. I'm like, no.
No, you just tell him to hush.
I said, I'm telling Kelly.
Uh-huh.
That's what
Uh-oh.
I said. That's
Tell
I
him
finally
just to
got him
hush
to be
up.
quiet. I said,
Hey,
"I'm
Robin,
telling
remember,
Kelly."
she ain't really that sweet.
Telling Kelly.
That's what she says.
Mhm.
Offshore today, northwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming easterly 5 to 10 early this afternoon, then becoming southerly later in the day. Seas 4 to 6 feet, subsiding to 2 to 3 in the afternoon. Sounds in rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop this afternoon. Not a bad day or two here to be out there, okay, on the water. I'm talking about on the high seas. The fish are biting. I mentioned yesterday about those bonito. The bonito, the kind that you can eat, or you can eat any of them, but the kind that will taste good are running just offshore. They usually last a couple, 3 weeks when the big masses are here, followed by the Spanish mackerel coming in just a week or 2 or 3. So get ready for it. Water temperatures are warming up rapidly. Good. Tomorrow, northwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, 2 to 3 footers, sounds in rivers a moderate chop. And even on Thursday, northerly winds 10 to 15, becoming northeasterly in the afternoon 5 to 10. It's about time those winds started to die down. Seas 2 to 3 feet, sounds in rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. And can you give us some rain to wash all that yeller stuff away?
Monday.
No,
Oh,
Next week.
today sunny, high of 74. The winds will be from the north around 6 miles an hour, but that does not mean go out and burn because there's a ban, folks. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 48. And the winds will start to pick up overnight tonight. Tomorrow it'll be sunny. The high will be 70, but the winds will start to be 6 to 11 miles an hour during the day, but gusts as high as 18 miles an hour. And it says gusts you got to watch out for. It's also blowing pollen everywhere. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low of 38. God, I got to turn the heat on. And then on Thursday,
Someone
sunny,
this.
high of 67. Thursday's our lowest temperature so far during the day because
it's 67 is okay. But
yeah,
we're now in spring
well, we're
officially. I
facing
forgot to
80 on
mention that.
Saturday.
What's
67
today?
seems cold.
20,
25th.
4th,
Did you say
Yeah.
38 tonight?
38,
30.
no, 48 tonight.
38 tomorrow night.
30, where am I at? 38 tomorrow night.
Oh.
I know I got my air on. Now I got to flip it back to the heat. I mean, Mother
I
Nature
haven't-
needs to give her life
Welcome to
together.
the South.
You
Do
need
you
to
have one of
get
those thermostats that can go back and forth
I
all
do.
by its own?
I was
Or do
going
you
to
have
say
to
you
check?
need to,
Probably.
you need to
okay.
get that
set
dual
up.
thermostat. I set mine for heat and air, and so it depends on what the temperature
Yeah,
is.
yeah, it's about like a
Nice.
10-degree difference or something. So
Yeah.
you could use that.
I probably do have it and don't know how, so I'll look it up. I'll get it dealt with.
Ask
If it gets
Robin; he can handle
colder,
it for you.
I handle that stuff.
Do you
at the
have
house.
Jones? No, you have Duke.
Yeah, I have horrific
I'm not even
Duke.
going to bring it up. Okay, I'm
Do
done.
not hate them. Yeah.
Oh, okay, there's a young lady here that heard about over the weekend,
Yes,
and
Miss
a
Rebecca?
friend of mine, and
Did
yeah,
you go by
and
Rebecca?
Rebecca's in here.
Yeah, I go by Rebecca.
Come on, help me out.
Maldonado.
Yeah.
Maldonado. See, I
I
knew
said it
that.
right.
You
Y'all
had
try
it
to
wrong.
rename her.
No, I said it right
You
this
said
morning.
Mal.
Well, I just did, but this morning I said
That's
it
a
right.
Southern in her.
I said, "Oh, I knew because I saw your post the other day." I was like,
Anyway, we got Rebecca in the house, and
Rebecca's in the
Rebecca.
Thanks for having me here. I'm
You're
so
welcome.
excited.
Rebecca's out on house arrest now, so because of all your big protests and stuff that you're doing.
Rayford.
Yeah, something like that.
Rayford.
What in the world is happening, Rayford? I need.
It's the pollen. It should be pink, and I wouldn't be acting like this.
That's what I'm saying.
No, Rebecca, you and you've been very vocal on social media and out in the public's eye, and about something that you're kind of irritated about.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just
about
a little
one
bit.
of our elected officials.
Yes, Congressman Murphy.
Oh,
So
what's he done to make you mad?
well, it's not listening to his constituents. I feel like everybody that I have run into is feeling unheard. If you look at his social media, there's nothing that reflects his constituents' concerns. During his town hall, they were dismissed like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it. But there are legitimate concerns that his constituents are having. I mean, he even went so far to post about paid protesters as if there's nothing going on right now, that there aren't upset people. And so it's really been frustrating for a majority of us that feel unheard.
Okay, let's just tackle that paid protester. You've got a group of individuals, right?
Yeah.
How much money are you being paid to do this?
I wish I was getting paid,
Oh,
but
okay.
if you know a good investor, please let me know.
There have been cases, I don't know of any around here, that in other parts of the country that we get reports during these massive protests
Right.
that are going on. You see the same protesters in Chicago that you saw in St. Louis. The reporters legitimately ask questions about
Right.
why are you in both places? Well, I'm getting paid to do this. So they don't even know what their issues are sometimes. The reporters who are worth their salt will ask the questions. You guys are not like that.
No, absolutely not.
You're all volunteers. You get together and
Yes.
you do this.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the examples of that he's not listening, that you say he's not listening to the people or whatever?
Well, like he has, hold on.
You can.
Just thinking, sorry. There's so many of them. One of the concerns that they've had is about veterans and supporting the veterans. He posts that he supports the veterans, but then he doesn't speak out for the 80,000 layoff of the VA system that's going to happen. We've already had reports from some veterans that their healthcare services are being cut, where they were able to receive mental health services for their PTSD. And now it's been cut. Instead of going once a month, and now they can only go once every 3 months and stuff. And so he also, like, if you write him, the response back is never about the topic that you're talking about. It's just a generic, I hear what you're saying, however, and then he goes on to state positions on other topics, but not the topic that you wrote him.
So you think it's a canned letter?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
copy paste. And I understand that his staffers are busy, but I mean, at least make a letter, like, for, if they're writing about veterans, have a letter for veterans, you know, addressing that concern, or at least put, I hear your concern about, you know, and make sure it addresses the actual topic so that we know that you read it and stuff.
I've had other congressmen. I've had one in particular. In fact, it was Congressman Murphy's predecessor, Walter Jones, he said that one of the things that a lot of folks don't understand is that your call or your letters are read not necessarily by the congressman, because sometimes they get to be volumes, but when there are issues, they'll group them together and try to
Right,
address them that
absolutely.
way. But phone calls, he said, we get told what the phone calls are and what they're about, even voicemail that they are left with. So, have you guys decided to try to use something other than the postal system by calling?
Oh, absolutely. So every day, our Onslow County Women for Progress, I create a to-do list because there's so much out there right now that people are concerned about. They don't know where to start. So we start with a to-do list, and that's actually posted on my Facebook page right now, public, so everybody can go look at it. Today we're addressing the executive order of possibly shutting down the Institute of museum and library services and stuff. So we call
Where did that come from?
the executive order,
Yeah.
President Trump.
Has he signed that
Yes, he's already signed it
to shut this down?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the museum you're talking about is
No, the Institute of Museum and Library
Institute of
Services.
Museum,
So
okay.
that's the federal
Yeah, I was going to say that would be a disaster.
Right.
Shut down our museum.
Right. So we're focused on that today, but every day we try to make a call to Tillis, Budd, and Murphy on important issues. So they're encouraged to leave a message or, be kind to the staffers because, again,
Sure.
they are the, messengers. They're not the person that you should be upset about. On different topics, we also use 5 Calls app to talk about. They have a whole list right now. I think they have 20 to 25 different topics that have information first, and then it has a little script to help you know what to say to your congressman and senator. When you put in your address, it automatically gives you your federal representatives and stuff. So it lines it up very easy, and you just tap on the representative's phone number, and it automatically calls from your cell phone.
Okay. So that's an automatic call. What kind of responses are you getting from the people when they answer the phone?
His people are very kind, and they always say, okay, we'll tell the congressman. But we've also had debacles like with the town hall. So we've been pushing for him to have a town hall, which was a horror. Well, he did have it at the very last minute. Here. No, he did not have a physical town hall. He had a telephone town hall.
Right.
So the Friday before he had his town hall, we were all calling in. At one point, one of us was told that it was going to be Monday at 10:15. Another person was told that it was going to be Monday at 7 o'clock. Then sometimes they were taking email addresses. Other times they were taking phone numbers. So then I was like, well, I live right around the corner from his office in Jacksonville. And I was like, let me just go see, get a clear answer on what's going on, because we feel it's important to be able to set aside our time to listen to what he has to say on these issues. And so I talked to Cody at his Jacksonville office, and he said that, we're getting misinformation from the Washington D.C. office. That's not how it works. We do one town hall per quarter per region. And then I asked him, well, what area are you doing? Because I thought it was geographical, but I guess it's up to the phone dialing system.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that's what he told me, because he couldn't tell me like a geographical region. Because I said, well, who can I, that way I can at least tell people, right? Like, all right, Onslow County, you're up, Dare County, you're up. But he couldn't tell me that information. And that was about 2:30, and he walked me out, was very kind. He said he would get more information and to call him back in a few hours. So I called him back at 4:30, and he told me, have any more information? I said, because you told me to call you 2 hours, so that you could get some. And he's all like, no, I don't have any more information. So the person, when I had called the DC office, they had said I would get an email about the town hall on Friday. And so I waited for that, didn't get anything over the weekend. Nobody in our group got anything over the weekend from the congressman or his office, right? When I say congressman, please know that I'm not thinking that it's like straight from the horse's mouth there. So we called on Monday, and the lady I talked to said, we don't know what time it's saying be. He might not even have it, but we'll get you out some more information. And then all of a sudden, and so we had more people calling in trying to figure out what's going on. We got more mixed messages. And then at 7:20 at night, we got a phone call. Oh, this is Congressman Greg Murphy. We're having a town hall right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I'm in the middle of something, but let me drop everything for you,
Mm-hmm.
And listen to this town hall. So it's really hard, like when he doesn't have publicized town halls, and there's a lot of people pushing for in person. And when I was talking to Cody about everything, he said that in person is impossible because there's nowhere big enough to host everybody. So it is what it is, but I would at least like publicize town halls, like be ready. Like, because at 7 o'clock, we're going to do a town hall, be by your phone, don't have the kids in the bath, don't be in the middle of dinner, right? That way we can be prepared. We can listen to Congressman Murphy. We can think of thoughtful questions, right? Because it's really hard to think of, you have so much stuff going on just throughout the day, let alone what's going on politically right now. But when we can really like think of a thoughtful question, because we know it's coming up, we can have better questions ready for his office and stuff.
Kelly, was it you or Lee that were on the town hall meeting recently?
I took 5 pages of notes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
he covered a lot of stuff.
You weren't able to talk, were you?
Oh, I put myself, I keyed in to ask a question,
Uh-huh.
but there were so many people and
Yeah.
so many questions. And then they say you can stay on the line afterwards and somebody will connect you with someone in his office to
Mhm.
ask a question and whatever.
Yeah.
But
And I
Yeah.
haven't heard anybody getting a response back yet from the town hall, which I can
Yeah,
imagine they have a ton of questions because right now, even though he says that he works on transparency, the Trump administration, there's a lot of non-transparent stuff going on that people have a lot of questions about and want clarifications on, whether it's Medicaid, Social Security, and immigration, veteran stuff, right? And so obviously we cannot contact President Trump and be all like, excuse me, sir, could you please
Why not?
clarify? Well, I mean, you could, but it would probably be the way is you're supposed to contact your representatives, right?
Uh-huh.
And they can get you information, let you know what's going on,
Mhm.
right? Since we're in a democracy, theoretically, that's how it's supposed to work.
I've been on a couple of the town hall meetings, and I never got, never made it to me.
Right.
Even though I had a question or seven, and I really should not be on those. I like to listen, but I really don't want to ask questions. I do that on here with him when we have him on here. So,
Right.
I would be unfairly taking up some time that other people don't have that kind of contact that we have one-on-one with them every month.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
Well, I know that Jennifer, one of our listeners,
Uh-huh.
had her question.
Joy called
Was it-
in.
Joy
and
got
she
it.
Joy, it
asked
might
a
have been
question.
Joy.
Yeah,
It was Joy who got
It wasn't Joy. I knew it was a J. But I also have to say, I've gone to D.C. several times and met with Congressman Murphy at his office.
Mhm.
And I'm only speaking for myself. I've never had an issue meeting with him, but I was in D.C. and I met
Well,
with
it's
him.
funny
Yeah.
that you mentioned that because we've put in a request February 21st to meet with him,
Wow.
me and 4 other members of the Onslow County Women for Progress. And 2 weeks later, I went to talk to Mallory at the Jacksonville office, and she said, well, it takes 30 days. And so that 30-day mark was last Friday,
Mhm.
and we still haven't gotten a response. And a lot of people are upset too that he was in town in Jacksonville. He was posting on social media. He went to the Marine base. He went to the YMCA. He saw the early childhood center, right? All this stuff. But then he didn't make any time for like normal, regular constituents who have problems. And that would have been like an awesome opportunity, even if he could have set up a town hall, or we were willing to set up a town hall for him, and I know that like we've seen other town halls where they get like really mad and angry and stuff. But one thing that we really pride ourselves on is controlling our emotions, right? Being able to have respectful dialogue, listening. We are really trying to figure out where he's coming from, like during his town hall. So my PhD is in instructional leadership and academic curriculum. Okay. During his town hall, he took a question about curriculum and the Department of Education. And he said, well, that's why we have to get rid of the Department of Education, and each state needs to have its own curriculum, and, the counties, we got to leave it up to them. Well, curriculum is left up to the states, right? Each state has their set of standards.
Sort of, yes.
Each state has their set of standards, right? And then up to the county on what kind of curriculum they're using, whether they let their teachers use, have their own curriculum, or if it's canned curriculum and stuff. And the Department of Education is really about funding, like Title I, which is for low income students.
Which all of that is going to stay in place, even if the so-called DOE it won't be eliminated. It'll be cut back. And they will handle funding and stuff
and my
like that.
point here is that Congressman Murphy did not know that. Right? He didn't answer it that way. He said the curriculum part was why we have to get rid of the Department of Education.
Okay.
He didn't say anything about funding. He's never had anything, about so my question is on the Department of Education, right? All the master promissory notes are made payable to the United States Department of Education. Okay. If it goes away, does the SBA have to buy out all the promissory notes? Do we have to sign new promissory notes? Right. So it's like very reasonable information that I'm curious about. And maybe maybe there's not a plan for that. Right.
That is one of the problems. And I'm not going to say with this president, but he has come into office and he has come in with a whirlwind. I personally, I think his communication skills are still sadly lacking, because not that his personal skills are bad. It's just that he's got so much that he knows what he's been doing. He's been working on this for 4 years.
Right.
He's had his plan formulating for 4 years, but has he shared it with anyone? Very few.
Right.
Very few. And now that it's being implemented,
right.
It's being challenged every step of the way. So he's got his issues to deal with there. But I don't even think he's communicating with Congress that well.
Well, and so that's...
And he should be.
Exactly. So that's my other concern right now. We've called him a lot, Congressman Murphy, Tillerson, but, we don't just focus on Congressman Murphy. But about checks and balances, like there's been some executive orders that are very questionable. Shouldn't that be left up to the legislative, branch? Isn't, when he calls out a judge for impeachment, shouldn't that be left up? You know what I mean? Like our forefathers were really smart when they set up the Constitution, right? And all this foundation stuff to make sure that the three branches really, balance themselves out, maybe not all the time, right?
Right.
But we hope that, that's the theory.
Every now and then it works.
Right? Every now and then. And that's the thing is like, so why aren't we hearing more out of our representatives about that?
First of all, the representatives that you're talking about, they're all Republicans.
Right.
I'm not Democrat either. I'm a nobody. But I can hate everybody equally. That's what I always say. But they are not going to step on his toes, on the president's toes, because he was elected, surprisingly, by a pretty decent margin, right? More so than he thought he was going to be elected by. He thought it was going to be bigger, but he claimed. But anyway, they're not going to step on his toes.
Right.
Because they want his support, number one, when it comes time for re-election, every 2 years for a congressman, every 6 years for a senator. They don't want to step on his toes because they don't want him to diss them. If the president is one that is seemingly this popular at this point in time, this is a Republican congressman during election time. It's a done deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so you have to understand where they are That's where politics come into play. That's
Right.
why I don't like politics. Well, part of that word of politics involves those little nasty critters that get under your skin.
Right. And it's unfortunate because, like, while they are worrying about themselves,
Mm.
like, the American people really feel like they're being, well, I can speak for the people that I've talked to in Congressional District 3, right? I shouldn't generalize the American people, but they really feel like an afterthought. Like, it's all about saving their own hide, but there's some very controversial or questionable things, right? Because the plan has not been communicated, right? There's a breakdown in that
I
communication.
think that's one of the biggest problems
You
right
know.
now in our system.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it starts at the top and works us all the way down. Now, one of the good things is we hear from people like you, and our monthly 10 or 15-minute trip down memory lane with the congressman, we get to ask these questions.
Right.
So if I was to, would you say that it looks like, well, you tell me how you would summarize what you think is going on with the congressman, with Murphy.
Well, it's unfortunate because I really feel that he is so concerned about, like you were saying, saving his own hide, making
Mhm.
sure that he is not upsetting President Trump, that he's not listening to the constituents
Okay.
of Congressional District 3. And and that's what we've been trying to remedy through protests, through calling him, through, social media. I mean, there's just so much stuff that comes out of his mouth that is the Trump agenda, right? Like last night, he posted his Fox Media interview, okay, talking about his quote was, hold on, may I get it out?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it this morning.
He said,
Lee, of all of us in here, I guess Lee probably knows Murphy better than any of us.
I have worked with him ever since his very first campaign
Uh-huh.
after Walter Jones passed away. So I've known Greg for a very long time. Yes.
Yeah. So his quote was, "The whole DEI policy is the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest peer pressure event since the Spanish Inquisition." So to me,
It's personally, I think it's a serious situation,
right.
but I'm not. I probably have problem putting it in that category. But
And I think some of our problem is, so I've worked, having been in grad school and learned about, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? My question is this one of those acronyms like CRT, right?
Yeah.
Where it just gets thrown around there. Nobody knows what it is, but we just hate it because Trump hates it. And so what it sounds like from his interview, because he says that he's protecting Jewish students.
what you're saying is Trump saying this, right?
No. This is
what
in Murphy's
Okay,
interview
got
on his social media.
Okay.
It says right at the bottom, it says that he's protecting Jewish students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but Jewish students are part of diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Mhm.
right? Because that movement, right, was to help people have the same privileges as white cisgender male people,
Mhm.
right? So Jewish being, whether it's a religion or the ethnicity, right, is included in that diversity. Even our veterans are a protected class, right? They're included in diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Why should there be any protected classes in general? Why does any class need to be protected? We're all created equal.
Right.
According to our mandates, we're all created equal. I'm just this blonde lady over here is just as equal as I am to
Right.
anything, right?
Absolutely.
So why do we need anything separately to distinguish that? To me, by including all blondes should be treated special, that precludes both of you from being treated equally. If she's going to be treated special, that precludes you or me from being treated as well as she's being treated.
Or it means that she's being treated equal to how brunettes are being treated.
But that's already
and
in the
it's
law.
not-
That's the way it has to be done.
Right.
by
So if we
law.
look at veterans,
Mhm.
okay, veterans are a protected class. They get extra points whenever they get a job, right? Are you a veteran? Yes.
Mhm.
And then you get pushed ahead. Now, why that is in place, you are asking the wrong person on that. I did not create that law. I do not know anything about that law, but I do think that our veterans should be protected, right? Because they,
I think neither one of these are veterans. They should be protected.
we're women. We
No, well-
deal with
Well,
our,
My job that I retired
know.
from, there were veterans that scored higher than I did on the test because they got veteran preference
They got
points.
bonuses.
They anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 points. And they always start with the veterans first.
When you go to golf, you got something
Fortunately-
called a handicap, right?
Right.
When you don't do as well as other people, they give you extra points. They give you something called a handicap. Why is it even called a handicap? And why do we even refer areas
you
like
get a
that?
handicap in bowling too.
Yeah, I was just
Stop.
gonna
Right?
say
And I hope that we're
Yeah.
not saying that this is a handicap for our veterans that are not.
See, that's what
performing.
that's what I'm concerned about. When you
Right.
start giving bonus points to people, if
Mhm.
you give them, okay, so if you give somebody a teacher
Right,
because she's got a doctorate degree,
right,
she's a doctor, right?
right. Dr. Maldonado, absolutely.
So you get, okay, you
you go.
reach up higher. If I had, hey, yeah, doc, I've got this pain right over, but if I had people that I would hire, okay, I was a news director in television, really weird. I had to be extremely equal then. I don't have to do that anymore. Right? Nobody's got any rights. But I would give them certain people because they scored higher.
Right,
They did well. They performed better. I figured they would perform better. I would give them a better chance at getting the job than somebody else who's just going to be, even though they got the same degree, perhaps. If they came in and they acted better and they could do better and they performed better, then they got raises. The other
right.
people
And
would
that's
not.
where it comes like to veterans, like being
But-
on an equal,
But that is for quality. That's for,
Right.
for qualifications.
right.
A veteran that, I don't know, he spent 8 years in the Marine Corps and he gets out of the Marine Corps as a PFC. Does he get the same,
If he marks the box, he does.
if he gets,
And if you make it 8 years as a PFC in the Marine Corps, I don't even know if you can renew your contract at
but let's say he
4
did-
years as a PFC.
let's say he came into the lowest rank that he could serve for over 8 years, and you got somebody else who's been in 8 years who comes out as a lieutenant.
Well, and you would know that in the interview, right?
But
You've
I
done-
mean,
you've
on the book when you apply for it, it says veteran. It doesn't say PFC or lieutenant.
right,
It
but they're
just says
not
you're
only
PFC.
looking at
Uh,
that check mark, right? You also have the resume. So you would see that veteran number 1 had 3 NJPs, right? And right there, you'd be like,
but you're
okay.
comparing veteran to
Right.
veteran. How about veteran PFC to Lee, who's not been in the Marine Corps or any other branch of service? She doesn't get that extra bonus point.
Right. Well, and if you're only going off bonus, so my bachelor's degree is in business management, and I was manager for 13 years, right?
Mhm.
So,
So if you applied to me when I was a news director as a reporter, what do you think I would do? That would mean nothing to me, right?
right. Well, I don't. I would hope that you would look and see if their MOS, right,
Yeah.
was communications, was photography or whatever it is, right? That applies more, right? We still have to use our critical thinking skills.
Correct.
That doesn't mean that, like, just because, and this is where it gets me. So I grew up, the polling place was at my grandmother's house. And so my grandmother, holy cow, talk about critical thinking skills. Okay. She would have us read over the sample ballot. And it wasn't about who or what we were voting for. Even when we were little, we didn't vote, right?
Right.
But we just went through the sample ballot. But we had to justify to her,
Good.
like, how, like, so you're voting for this person.
She
You
should
can't-
be in charge of something.
Well, she's dead. So,
Well, should have
you
been
know.
in charge of something.
She was in charge of 3 businesses and 6 children. So
That will-
she did
that
her,
helps.
she did her part and ran the polling place every election.
Oh, good.
You
Okay,
know.
so she was there.
Yeah,
Got it.
she was. Oh, yeah, she was the lady in charge of like everything at that time. But she taught us, right? She didn't want me to vote for, like, let's say I said, "Oh, I'm going to vote for Greg Murphy," right?
Mhm.
And then when she said why,
Mhm.
right, you better have a better reason than he's a Republican, right? And you're a
Mhm.
Republican, because I grew up, my whole family's Republican, right? And then you need to have like what points of his do you agree with,
Right.
right? And then you also have to be able to look at the person that you're not voting for, and why are you not voting for him too? And so I think that really shaped me growing up, like critical thinking skills, making
Right.
sure. And that's kind of, I guess, what gets me about Congressman Greg Murphy is I feel that he is just, every time he opens his mouth, here comes Trump's agenda out. Here comes Trump's agenda. And I'm like, are you really thinking about what you are saying?
I know what kind of questions I'm going to ask now, next week or week after, whenever he's on next.
Okay, I'm
That's-
glad
that's
that
what I-
helped
That's
solve
why I
that
went and go
problem.
all around the world there to get back to that point. You're a Trump man, and that's it, right? That will be my question to it, or
Okay.
something along those lines. You just carry on his agenda regardless of what it is.
And
I
pretty
put-
much, I mean, that's
See, I
all
put
that
peop-
he's
I
had
put people
out.
on the defensive. That's
Right.
what was my job.
And well, that, and I appreciate that. Even putting me on the defense. Like, I mean, I don't, here we are. We should be able, like everybody, regardless of like their political affiliation, right? We should be able to sit down and have a conversation about
Absolutely.
like this, even if we don't agree with each other.
Right.
And that's
Right.
what we want with the town hall, right? Is like, how can we have a conversation? Or even if we could meet with Congressman Murphy, right? How can we clear this up? How can, I heard that because we have a few mutual friends, ironically, right? Oh, he's a great guy. I'm like, well, I have not seen that part of him being a great guy yet.
Mhm.
So, you know what I mean? Like, but how do we clear this up? And I think the only way to clear up miscommunication or discommunication is by having communication.
You know,
But hold up.
there's an FTC letter, series of letters out there that we use a lot. It's called failure to communicate, and
Right.
unfortunately, it applies with politicians a lot.
Yes.
But you guys were saying, both of you, that about Murphy, like agreeing with Trump.
Mhm.
Well, maybe that's because he supports all his policies. Has anybody thought about that?
That's
oh,
That's
that's
reason-
the
That's what we
question.
want to ask him.
But should he not? Is that
Well,
what y'all are saying?
no,
You
no,
don't
no.
want him to?
Well, as
do
a
you support all of
representative,
his policies?
What?
Do you support everything that Trump does?
No, but I'm also not a congressman.
Hmm.
But I mean, I would think that someone in Congress is going to support what they believe in.
right?
Should he
well,
not?
And that's so. There's that theory, right? That they should go based off of their beliefs, right? There's the other theory that our forefathers put in place and designed, right, as a democracy. Okay, is that the whole reason is he is a representative of the congressional district, right?
Mhm.
So he
13
should
counties.
have our best interest in mind. So if he sees, let's say, Social Security offices, this has come up numerous times when I've talked to people, okay, being closed, right? And people are panicking and they don't want to have to drive to Raleigh. And there's news about the Social Security number, right, being limited, and it's going to be more difficult to get in.
He addressed that on his town hall, and what he said that they were closing was Social Security offices that were used just for hearings. In other words, the main Social Security offices will still be staying open,
Newbern, Wilmington,
but
in this
where
district.
they have leased and rented little offices for people to have Social Security hearings and stuff, that was a total waste, and that's what there would be closing.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yes, that's what he said
Yes.
in
So
the
they're
town
not
hall.
closing Social Security offices,
No.
Just the hearing
Yes.
offices.
just a hearing location.
Right, but
Yes.
there's still people who are concerned,
Mhm.
right?
Sure.
And so here's the other problem with the town hall too. Not everybody got a phone call for the town hall, which there's a lot of constituents, right? You
Right.
can't do that, right? But there was no it would have been helpful also to have like a press release afterwards. Like, here's the question that was asked, and here's the answer. Question, and
Fair.
even if you did it, because there were a few questions about like what you're saying, the Social Security stuff. There's a few questions about Medicaid. They could have like put that together, right? And then put that out on his social media so that the people who did not have the opportunity to attend the town hall, right? Because I know a lot of people who got the phone call, okay, but they missed it. And then they went to call back, and then it said, sorry, we cannot,
For anyone who would like to be a part of his town halls and get notification,
You're supposed to notify.
if you
sign up
go
for
to
it or
his
something, right?
website, there is a place to sign up
Mhm.
where you can sign up and be added to the list.
Right.
So,
but according to Cody, there are limitations on how many they can have.
well,
in there.
probably
Well,
so.
the telephone system
Yeah,
will
the
Yeah.
system.
prevent that. Yeah.
So
But is that a him issue or is that a telephone system issue?
That's a system issue.
that's a system issue.
Well, that's
so
why
that's not a
sometimes
Have how many you've been on more than one?
I don't go on any of them.
I've
'cause
been
I
on
But you've
care
been
enough.
called, right?
I'm not even signed up.
You
I
don't
didn't know
sign
how.
up, okay.
Yeah.
probably every one of them, because when I
Okay,
get the
now
call,
let
I
me
just
ask you
jump
this.
on.
When you're on them, do you hear the same people each time or you hear different people?
Oh, you're different people.
So it's
Yeah.
not a select group of
Yeah,
individuals.
no,
that are-
I-
okay,
I
I just
would
want to make sure.
say
I don't know.
that
I've been on one.
The last town hall covered about every single county in the 13 county district. I mean,
Okay.
they were not just sticking to one county. They were
I think
going
that's
through a
one
lot
of the
people.
things that would be smart if he
Right.
did. I did not know that's what he was doing, but if that's what he's doing, all 13 counties should be represented.
Yeah,
Somebody from
he
each
was,
county should be calling.
And the
Right.
thing about it
I have
is,
one in every county.
it's like
Yeah.
sometimes they
I
have
bet.
such a large list, a vast list to call.
Mhm.
And like you said, the system will only allow so much.
Yeah, well,
And so then they place a second call after it started. Because sometimes I don't get the call till the second call saying it's already in progress. And then I jump
Sure.
on, which that has happened to me occasionally. So I don't, it must be something to do with the system that they're using.
well, no system is going to connect you with every person in the
Right.
third,
No,
in the third
absolutely
district.
not. Well, and that's why I think it would be beneficial for his office staff, right?
Great
Give
points,
that
great
summaries,
points.
give that, and then that way people, and put it in your newsletter. Have a special newsletter, town hall summary.
You know what I would
You know,
suggest? I would
And
suggest for everybody who's listening, and you especially, since you're articulate,
right,
put all of this down in writing, exactly
Yeah.
what my suggestions are. I would like to be on the town hall meeting. Obviously, not everybody can be, and there are
Right.
other people like me who can't be
I held for
necessarily.
20 minutes.
But how about afterwards that you summarize this, what occurred during the town hall meeting, and put it out in a bullet point?
right. Not a long paragraph.
Not a narration.
You're right,
No,
right.
no narration, but
Right.
just put it out as a bullet point. Point one. Question one was yada, 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 yada. Now, some of the questions may be redundant.
Right.
Some of the questions may be moved from La La
I
Land.
took,
You know how that works too.
like I said, I
Uh,
took 5 pages of notes. Every
Yeah.
single question that was asked in his response, believe me, I was writing fast. And I was going to bring that in for
Mhm.
the last time when he called in, but
He
he called in at a different
He
time
called in
we
from-
weren't expecting.
Yeah, he called
so
in
you
from the
didn't have
ballpark
it. So,
when they were doing
yeah.
a baseball game, but he did call in.
Right.
Hey, that's all that matters. He
He-
called
he-
in.
He had a
There you
schedule, and
He
we
had a
we were
schedule.
led to believe that he wasn't going to be calling in, and Mike
We
smack
weren't
dab in the
prepared.
middle. He didn't even call on our line. He called on my cell phone.
Oh my goodness!
So
Wow.
it's
we
all
didn't
right.
get a
I
chance.
took him, and we got it done.
Right.
Right.
But whatever works.
So yeah, it
I
would-
was happy that he took whenever they had a little break. That they had practice or something early.
They
in the
had
morning.
practice for the game.
So
When is the game? Did we miss it?
I don't think so. I thought it was in the spring.
What game are you guys talking about?
The congressional
game,
baseball.
like-
The
What?
Democrats
Yeah.
versus that's where Scalise got shot.
Yeah,
And all
that
those
time.
kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Oh,
So-
they still do that? Game?
Yeah, they do it every year.
Well,
Yeah.
heavy security.
Okay, all right. That's a little bit better. I was all like, oh, I thought they stopped that.
Oh,
I
no,
thought he
no.
said it was in June when he
I
called
don't-
in that day.
I don't remember. Anyway, they
I
were
know
at
we're
practice.
practicing. They're practicing.
Practicing.
Yeah, I do know he said they were
So,
practicing.
it's usually in the spring.
Make sure I don't miss it.
So
Yeah, you watch that every
anyway,
year.
he at least he does. He will live up to as much of his staff didn't think he was going to call in. They warned him that he wouldn't be calling in because he had this other game thing
Right.
practice. But he called in anyway.
Excellent.
And then I
But
got
we
a note
weren't
from
prepared with the questions.
Yeah, I got a note from his staff after that. He said, "I guess we didn't know." Well, he thought more of us than he thought of you. Is what I replied. Words to that effect. We have a joke going
Or you
on.
can buy tickets, but no date.
Well, how you gonna buy tickets for something you don't have a date for?
You
It's
just
a contribution.
Schedule.
What are you on?
oh, so it's not really tickets?
Yeah, I
No,
think they're
well, it's
tickets, but
Fake tickets, maybe? What is it? What's it called? Congressional Jam?
I'm not going to
Congressional
people.
baseball
Bad
team.
people
Me and Lee
around
go
that walk
road
around with
tripping
guns, you know.
Right?
And I'm
Who
the only one
knows?
that's supposed to be with a gun, personally speaking. But I don't even own a
I'll
gun.
take off work and go to that.
Let's go.
When is it? We don't know when to go, girl.
Well, then just go ahead and make your plans and go when you don't know when you're going to go. It'll be all right. Trust me. See, I could run for office. Trust me.
There you go.
These are
Rayford for Congress. There we go.
Oh.
Next time.
Do not do that to us. No.
We're going to make some signs and
No.
start putting that everywhere.
Oh, it's June 11th, 2025.
Oh, it's coming up here.
Yeah.
Man,
You
you
got 2
could go.
months to go.
I'm trying to think.
I had a calendar here.
Oh, you
It
don't
was
have the
just
one
on-
that far in advance?
June 11th. What day of the week is it? I think I'm going to have my
June 11th?
grandson that week.
Probably a weekend.
Let's see, what do we got going? We should take the bus, Rayford. Let's go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a
Y'all could go.
Wednesday.
We could
Your
go.
group ought to buy tickets
There
and go
you
to the
go.
game.
Excellent.
Support your congressman.
Right? We'll
June
get our signs
11th.
ready.
It's a
That's on
Wednesday.
a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's middle of the week? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
perfect.
It's at Nationals Park, June
Yeah.
11th, 2025, right here.
I believe that we will be going up for
How
the
much
V-Day Veterans March. That's on June 6th.
Well, y'all,
So,
y'all
there you go.
There.
We'll just spend a few
Let's just
extra
spend a few-
days,
you
and
can-
I'm
2
sure
weeks.
Congressman Murphy would be excited to see us up in D.C.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's only
this says the tickets are not on sale.
I just closed it out. I wanted to. It was.
well, you've been blocked anyway.
I don't know.
That's not new. That's the story of my life.
Nobody wants you going
Yeah,
to the
they don't want me
baseball
going up
game.
there.
All right, now, so can you write a letter? Why don't
I hope so.
why don't you-
I hope my PhD
will you write a letter?
I will write a letter, and I will let you know the response
And
if
send
I
me a
get
copy
one.
of it, please.
Yes.
My email is simple.
Okay.
RayfordBrand@gmail.
Oh, well, heck, okay. No dots, no nothing.
No
dots
Just
except
straight
.com.
on through. I will CC. Well, I have to do it through there. So I'll give you a copy of it.
You can do
I've-
that.
Yeah, that
And you
works.
can always message our show.
Yeah. Oh,
Kelly
that's a
and I,
good
we can do
idea.
that.
Yeah, now that
And I'll
I
spread it
apologize.
among us.
Heck
So
yeah.
either way.
Absolutely. So
Yeah, we spread so much junk. I generally spread a lot of jokes, and they don't like it.
So-
Well,
so
one of
I
them
have a
doesn't like 'em.
question. I was reading because I was checking things out so I can, get familiar with you. There is a protest today at the library.
no, we're going to be on Gum Branch and Doris/Branchwood,
Okay.
where there's more visibility.
Okay.
So we call those, all right. So in Jacksonville, if you have 8 or less people, you do not need a permit. Okay.
Okay.
I want to clear that up
All right.
about that. So when we have bigger protests, right, you have to go through the public safety
Protest or a
Right.
gathering.
Gathering,
Why
yeah.
don't you call it a
educational
gathering?
demonstration.
That's
There you
better.
go.
There we go. We need to watch our P's and Q's around here. Educational.
Well,
We will be having an educational demonstration today between 12 and 2. And it's just to bring awareness to the community about what's going on. Because, like, a lot of people don't know that when there's so much, even if you listen to the news, how do you keep up with it all right now? Like,
yeah.
you can. There's no way, right? Secondly, it's to support, our library people,
Right.
right? Say, hey, you are loved. We understand, what you're going through. We're here with you. And, so we've been doing these. This is saying probably we actually have 3 planned this week. We have one for the libraries, one for Department of Education, and another one for protecting the press. And we get really good feedback from people driving by. We get honks, we get yells, we get exciting. Every once in a while, we get the "Go Trump" or
Oh, yeah.
the flip off. The bird flies by.
Oh,
Why? But it's very rare. We see a lot of support in the community for saving the library, saving the Department of Education and stuff. And so we're just trying to get people out there. Oh, I saw this sign about save the library. What does that mean? Right? And hopefully they're coming back
So
and
what
doing a
is
little bit.
happening to the library?
Right? That the executive order.
You need to be able to explain exactly what that executive order says and what it means.
Well, when I have my phone out, I
Yeah.
can.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So, and again, so our group tries to cover everything because we have over 400 people in our group.
Hmm.
And so, like, maybe you're not a library person, right?
That's a mob.
That's a mob.
That's
It's a
not-
rioting
that's
mob.
rude.
Watch out. So maybe you're not interested in library stuff, right?
Well, I am.
But we also have, but you're interested in immigration stuff. So we also talk about immigration stuff.
Mhm.
And maybe you're really concerned about Medicaid, right? And so for me on the Medicaid issue, it's very concerning to me because I was a single mom,
Mhm.
right? And even though I was working, I could not afford the insurance that my company was offering me at that time, right? In the Medicaid,
Mhm.
even though I'm a working single mom. So to cut Medicaid, I think about those working single parents out there, right? That are trying their best. That is already, I can't even imagine what life would have been like if I had for my children's medical insurance, because it was an outrageous amount at the time, which I was just trying to, keep the lights on, keep the boys fed, keep
Sure.
everything happy, kosher, and do the best for my boys. So to add on that extra $200-300 a month for their medical insurance would have been astronomical. So I am so thankful that while my boys were growing up, that they were able to have that extra support. So when they got sick, or, boys are boys, they've broken multiple bones, right?
Boys are boys. Now you're putting us, kind of lumping us all together, aren't you?
Well, I will say my boys were very active and very excited. They're both Marines now. And they, I get a phone call, Mom, I jumped off the roof and I was supposed to land on the trampoline, but I didn't land on the trampoline, and I think
Missed
I broke
by
my
that
foot.
much.
That is exactly what happened too, right? And I broke my foot. I need to go to the emergency room.
It'll heal
So-
6 months. Don't worry.
Right? And I had I came home and my other son's thumb was like turned sideways. And I said, what were you doing? And he's all like, oh, well, we were wrestling. And I guess the other kid, just having fun, right? And he took his thumb and cranked it all the way around. He's like, I didn't know I could break somebody's, finger that way. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, okay. So it was really helpful just to have that extra Medicaid and stuff. And so, it's just a lot of concerns are out there. And I think like what we were talking about, when there's no communication on what's the plan and so many things are being thrown, at us at once. And a lot of people don't understand.
A lot of folks
What
don't listen
hurry
to
is.
the whole, whenever he comes up with a directive and executive order or whatever. Sometimes you don't hear the whole thing. I don't know this, but I'm just going to say, we're going to cut Medicaid fraud. Makes a big difference in the
Right. In the
Story,
wording instead of Medicaid.
We're gonna cut
Well, Medicaid's a state
Right.
a state
And-
issue anyway,
Yeah.
because every state's Medicaid is
it's
different.
different.
Well, and I've
And they
heard
just increased it in North
Congressman
Carolina.
Murphy talk about the states haven't been able to audit the rolls. Okay. And this is a reasonable, thing. Like the states should be auditing their rolls, making
Absolutely.
sure. But I'm all like, so before we go cutting it in the budget, let's audit the rolls first. And
Yeah, but
then
it's done at the
see.
state level. The state,
I
the
have-
state
That's a
decides
state
it.
issue.
Yeah.
a press release that was just released by the state of North Carolina
Okay.
from the General Assembly, President of the Senate, Phil Berger. And it says that Senator Berger files the DAVE Act to root out government waste and increase efficiency
Yeah.
bill, requiring the state auditor to take a comprehensive look at the state agency spending and make recommendations for any potential
My
cuts,
question to
changes,
him would have
etc.
been, why in the Sam Hill is this needed? Why wasn't it done in the beginning? But
Well, that's
I
what I-
mean,
We
the
can't go back and fix
the
the past.
corporation that I work for,
Right.
Lord, do you think they waited
No.
to
Absolutely not.
check things for 40 years or 50 years? They would have been out
Well,
of business.
we've said that about every administration that
Yeah,
comes
that's it.
along. We've
Well,
said it.
Rayford, to answer your question, Institute of Museum and Library Services was established in 96, and it has a mission to advance, support, and empower America's museums, libraries, and related organizations through grant making, research, and policy development. What it did was combine the services, because they say it's an independent government agency. It combined the services of previous government agencies, including the National Commission on Libraries and Information Science and the Institute of Museum Services. It distributes thousands of grants nationwide, totaling in recent years to more than $200 million annually.
And as you'll note, it is an independent
It's independent government agency.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Trump just appointed a new director 4 days ago. So.
Keith Sonderling was recently confirmed.
Well, he also
Yes.
appointed a Secretary of Education too, but we know how that's going.
No, it's going to stay. The Department of Education is not going away.
Just revamping it.
It's revamping. They're
Right.
going to quit doing some of the stuff that they've been doing. They're still going to be issuing money. They're just going to, things like directives coming down from the DOE. We're not going to give you any money unless you put these things in your plans. They have been forcing. It's the same thing that the federal law enforcement, what was that, the LEA, whatever it was, Law Enforcement Assistance Administration did back in the days in the 70s. They would issue you grants. Oh, you can hire this number of people. Oh, we're only going to pay for them for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are you going to do with them after you've trained them and hired them for a year?
You have to have a sustainability plan.
You do. But that's not what they did. They just gave away free money, they thought, until they found out there was a big scam. Strings attached. And that's sometimes what the DOE was doing as well. We give you this money, but if you don't do it our way,
Mm-hmm.
like if you do not include DEI, or if you do not have these curriculums, part of your curriculum, if you don't have these things you're doing, we're not going to give you that money.
So I'm looking at the White House website right now on the executive order,
Mm-hmm.
and it specifically says closing the Department of Education would provide children and their families the opportunity to escape a system that is failing them. So closing is the key word there,
Mhm.
right? And all their jargon, right? We can go back and forth whether or not it's good or bad, right?
Yep.
But they are his plan. And he even said this to Linda McMahon, right, who he's known forever through WWE. Don't get me, as a child of the 80s, I remember. So, girl, okay, see?
No,
Oh, my
two of
gosh.
you.
So, my students, I got to tell this story, okay? In 2015, when Trump announced that he was running for president,
Mhm.
I told my students that I remember Donald Trump as the WWE chairman, and I was showing them pictures and video of when he shaved Vance McMahon's head and stuff, and they were like, "This guy's running for president." I said, "Yes, sir. Yep, that's what's going on right now." So my students were, very excited about that.
Oh Lord, I never even knew any of that. So I'm not a WWE guy.
Oh well, you are missing out on
No, I'm
life.
not. No, I'm not.
Especially the good, like during the 80s and the early 90s, that's when WWE was the best. That is one good thing that Trump
It's fun.
did in his life was WWE.
I went to a massive, major news event involving a bunch of wrestlers one time, 4 of them. They were on an airplane coming into Wilmington, and I was there for a meeting, a news deal. They were on an airplane coming into Wilmington, and they almost made the runway. They fell short and landed on the prison grounds.
Oh, gosh, darn.
Yeah, 4 of them were. One, I think, was critically injured, and
my gosh.
others were hurt.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, yeah, 1974-ish.
Oh, well, I wasn't alive then. That's why. I
Well, you
didn't
can still
hear
find
about
it. It's on
Okay.
Google.
I'm going to Google it. 1974
Yeah.
Wilmington plane crash, WWE.
Wrestlers. Ric Flair was on board. That's about
Ric
it.
Flair. Really?
Yeah.
I like Ric Flair. He's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Those
these
old-
guys who get in there and ring and fight each other to death, they fly on the same plane, small plane.
Right. Well, it's all
Give me a
staged. You know that. Come on now.
No,
Oh, yeah.
that's not real.
Who was it that he body slammed when he came into the ring? That was
I don't
way
remember.
back 2007, I think it was. Who was that? He body slammed somebody.
He's
In the
probably
ring.
body slammed a lot
Yeah.
of people in the ring.
Yeah,
right?
he
Especially-
has a friendship
anything.
with the McMahons, has had it for years, and
Yeah.
has
Ed
appeared. No, not Ed. He was
Linda
shut that one
and
down.
Vance McMahon. Yeah.
Oh, I knew.
So
I
yeah,
know
they've known
two
each
that-
other, and he even acknowledged that when that was the other weird thing. You didn't watch the signing of the executive order where he had all the children sitting up there in their uniforms, prim and proper. It was frightening. Like as a teacher, okay, no child sits that way. But yeah, he acknowledged that. I bet so.
Well, that's what we're lacking these days. Is back. I can remember going to school and then having classes
That long ago?
on. That was back when we all went to one little farmhouse for
I
school.
understand, yeah.
Okay, but I can
I've really spent the
remember.
middle of it for the
I
winter.
can remember taking etiquette classes at Northwoods Park. Where the teacher explained to you how young ladies sit.
Right.
And how you would
Didn't take-
dress adults.
It didn't take it, did it?
You're gonna keep on and you body slam you.
She's
in the
sitting
ring.
with her ankles crossed right now. It did take.
See,
So
look
am
at
I.
Literally, like she's literally sitting like a
Well,
lady
then
because you don't cross your knees.
Then I'm a
right?
lady.
You
I'm a lady.
Oh, look at
Let's
that!
not
You are
start with
ladies.
this
There
now.
we go.
Let's not start with this now.
The
But
man
yeah,
says I can be a lady if I want to be.
yeah, I saw that signing with all the children there.
Yeah, but he did acknowledge, like he told Linda, he's like, "Oh, I've known you forever," and
Yeah.
and he really, I'm probably since the '60s or the '70s.
Okay,
He's
first
known.
Tuesday in the month, 7:30 he calls. Is that what it is? 7:30. First Tuesday in each month he calls
Okay.
here.
First or second?
Second Tuesday in each month he calls here. One of them he calls here.
Second.
It's in my computer somewhere in the calendar.
Yes.
But,
Second Tuesday.
Second
Pay attention,
Tuesday.
and,
I will.
and if you know something in advance, send us an email or send
Okay.
us.
And we'll ask them the questions.
We have a lot of people send us. Here's what I'd like
And we
to
do
know
ask.
from him or of him or whatever.
Right,
We can't put the people on the air when he's on the air. We have a limited amount of time, and that's,
right,
you know,
absolutely.
and 50 minutes here so far this morning.
Oh wow,
It's
that's
cool
gone by fast. Yeah.
because we can
Yes,
do
it
that in
has.
person. We ain't gonna get the congressman to hang around on the
For
phone for
50
50 minutes.
No,
Especially when some of the
One
callers that we
day.
have would be asking you some of the most inane questions. Oh, yeah, like the idiot reporter that asked Bill Clinton, boxers or briefs, Mr. President? What?
I don't want to know. Really.
Oh my God! Can you?
I
That
kid
just
you
gave me
not.
a mental image that I'd never
I
wanted
could
in my
never-
life.
In a public meeting, a reporter, I hope that she's gone, ask him, 96, I think it was, boxers or brief, Mr.
I
President?
remember that. I
And you
remember
got- And
that.
he answered
Is
it.
that when Monica Lewinsky was
No, that
going
was
on?
before Monica. Well, it was going
Wasn't
on.
that-
Well, it was going on, but we didn't know about it.
No.
Wasn't that Bush? She asked.
No, that was
George
Clinton.
Bush. Was it Clinton?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just a thought. I could never look at him the
If-
same.
if
I
I
think
had
she's
that-
curious about George Bush, though,
Yeah, she
wanting to
is.
know boxers and briefs
I've
for
got that
him.
much, if I've got
Oh,
a
it was
little bit of time
Bush.
with the president or with the congressman or whatever, I'm
Right.
not going to ask stupid stuff.
Right. No, and that's what we're going back to, going back to the town hall. Like, if we know ahead of time, we can ask really thoughtful questions.
That's what you need to do.
And so that's why we would like it publicized. And,
Clinton.
it was,
I told
you
you.
could Google that.
I know,
you
but
can Google everything nowadays.
Clinton
I'll tell you
gives
what.
revealing answers to the MTV crowd. All the world's dying to know
Oh, 'cause
is it boxers or
MTV,
briefs?
oh my
Asked
God.
Letitia Thompson,
Well-
17 of Maryland. She was talking
Oh,
to
she was
President Clinton, who
17.
chatted
Come on,
with a
that's
bunch
what
of
every
youths.
teenage girl worries about. Well, click on it. Tell us if he wears boxers or briefs.
Good
Nothing.
Lord have mercy.
He goes commando. Just around the White
Okay,
House.
Rebecca, you can stop there.
He should have. I would have responded for him and said, "Well, just ask Monica; she knows."
Oh, burn.
Okay, we're getting way past all this. Rebecca, how
Okay.
can if somebody wants to join your group?
Right.
It's Onzo County Women for Progress.
Yeah.
Okay, I put the link on our page.
Excellent.
If somebody wants to join your group, how would they go about doing it?
We have a Facebook group, which is our main way. We do in-person gatherings, which are,
Right.
fun. But the Facebook group, that'll have all of the updates and when we're having
Okay.
our meetings
All right.
and stuff like that.
Do you meet once a month?
I wouldn't say that we have organized like that meetings, but we have sign parting meetings and we have, the
Okay.
protest meetings.
All
Get
right.
together groups.
Get together
Get
groups.
together
Yeah.
groups.
Oh,
I
the
like that, yes.
educational demonstration meetings.
Is
Yes,
there
I
a
understand.
uniform of the day, combat uniform or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, they're out there
mean-
in camo protests. Well, having an
Hey,
educational.
for the
gather.
veterans, that's a good idea. We can get
Oh,
ourselves some
Lord.
camera. Watch it. I'm going to take pictures and send it to you guys.
Oh, now.
Man, man, you don't know me that well. I will do that.
I have no doubt.
Interesting.
But it is a group. It's, and, you know, they're not out there, not rebel rousing
No.
individuals.
Yeah.
You want answers.
Right. Right. And I would, say that we're full of like Republicans, independents, and
Mhm.
Democrats, right? It's just like, it's just a concerned group
Okay.
that we do want
like
answers.
that.
We want better communication. And, we've talked about a lot of good solutions, and I will email him and stuff. But at some point, like, why? We don't feel like we should have to be managing his office for him. Here's what you should do. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, he's been a congressman for
Here's-
5 years now?
Here's what I would do.
You
is
know?
if in your shoes, here's what I would do. Is the way. We've got a group together here. We're not protesters. We're trying to tell people we're made up of Democrats, Republicans, and independents.
Right.
Right.
We have no political agenda.
Right. We just
If you
have a
don't,
communication
I assume
agenda.
you do not have a political
No,
agenda.
no.
So you're not campaigning against anybody or for anybody.
No.
Okay. Then here's how, if I was in your shoes, here's what I would do. And here's where we see a problem you may not be aware of,
Right.
but we'd like to make you aware of it.
Right. And we've sent that email. And that's one of the reasons that way back on February 21st, right? We sent a meeting request because we want to
Emails
have
are
that.
cool. It's a great way to communicate.
Right.
I get about 400 or 500 a day.
Nice.
90% of them get deleted before I even read them.
Right.
Because the subject line means nothing to me. This is important. Now you go.
I know,
Just,
all the
just the
texts
way
I
it
get.
works. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And not that they won't read them sooner or later. They may
Right.
have somebody. They may have, the minimum wage or an intern reading some of them.
Right.
I'm sorry, they have them.
Absolutely.
It happens. And they will go through and say, he's not going to want it. No. And they go in a pile. And then they're
Do they print them all out? Oh my gosh, that's a lot of paper.
They might.
Wow.
I don't know. But
Okay.
they
I
will-
would hope that it's more like tech savvy than that, and that they can
Well,
organize
I'm
them.
sure that they are, but how
Okay.
would you go back? How would I go back and even categorize the 400 that I get every day?
Well, but they have a different system because you go on the website and you fill in your information,
understand.
and then you choose what
Right.
topic does this go with, right?
Is
So
there
I would
anything there, none of
assume.
the above.
I think
or
there's an
the
other,
I'll bet
right?
you 10 to
That's
1.
probably the
other
junk.
is going to be the big
Right.
pile.
Well, and that's why we also educate, people that like if you are writing about immigration, make sure that you put immigration,
Mhm.
right? If we
Kind of
were
generic, but I
Well,
know it's
but-
got it up there, but it's still too generic.
right, well, and then you have a spot to put the title.
Uh-huh.
So then that's when you would be more specific. So like when I wrote in, because I want a written answer on the $6 million that we paid to El Salvador to hold the Venezuelan deportees, right, in CECOT, right? That was, I chose immigration, right, because that's like the umbrella. And then my thing was $6 million to El Salvador for Venezuelan deportees. Right, that's my title, and then the body of then I went into more detail.
Well, what were
and
you
stuff.
questioning? Were you questioning why that money was spent, or
When that was allocated from Congress, right?
Mhm.
Because Congress is supposed to be doing all the spending of money,
right?
right? And so I did not hear about a bill being passed or anything being passed. And he's on the Ways and Means Committee, right?
It
Mhm.
probably came under, I would assume it came under a general bill, a general fund that he has
I see
access
a
to,
funny
whatever.
thing on that.
Right.
I
Well, and
doubt
that-
if it was a separate
Right.
expenditure.
So, well, and that's fine. If that's where it's from, then again, the communication.
Sure.
So when it came out that we paid $6 million to El Salvador to hold the Venezuelan deportees for 1 year in CECOT, right? Like that's it. Like, okay, so where did that money come from? Did it come from the ICE budget? Did it come from, was there a special bill passed by Congress that said, yes, we can spend the $6 million?
I doubt if it would have gotten through all of Congress even.
Right.
Because, they're
Let
kind
me
of
see
close
that.
in numbers.
But
And
with,
even if it had, it wouldn't have gotten through the Senate.
I would hope that Congressman Murphy, being on the Ways and Means Committee,
Yep.
that's something he should be able to answer.
Mhm.
Where did the $6 million come from? I mean,
All right, this
I
was
don't
just a few
understand.
days ago, and it says President Donald Trump's administration will pay El Salvador $6 million to imprison for 1 year about 300 alleged members of the
TD, whatever it is. TDA,
TDA, Trinidad, what Kelly knows it well.
the gang.
Yeah, the bad guys. This follows discussions between El Salvador's president and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio about housing migrants. Let me see if I can find where this is the money
And
came
now
from.
Venezuela says they're going to go get them anyway.
right.
So
Do we
we're-
get a refund on the $6 million?
Yeah, I was gonna say-
like, that's what but we're
We've
talking,
not paid it yet.
we haven't paid it.
Yeah.
No, it
Wait,
says
El
President-
Salvador took the deportees without
Sure.
being paid. Bro,
got good credit.
come on now. Oh,
It says it says the administration will pay El Salvador $6 million, but I don't think they've paid it yet. Let me see if I can get down here to get more.
This was a
facts.
ploy to get Venezuela to understand
Right.
English. Sometimes they're a little bit hard-headed down there. And that president that they have, years ago, he would not still be alive. He would have been taken out.
It says Rubio and El Salvador's president discussed the specifics of the new transfer, which include a cost of about $20,000 to house each prisoner for the year. And the State
Well, that's cheaper than we
Department
can house them.
also suggests
Seriously.
that it may set aside $15 million to send El Salvador to house additional members of the gang.
wait, so they are planning on sending more Venezuelan deportees there?
Not anymore, because Venezuela has said
Yes.
they will take them.
Yeah.
We're-
So they wouldn't take them at first. That's why they're in El Salvador?
Venezuela agreed to take them to begin with.
It says
Right.
they may.
Then they
right.
said they stopped it. Said we're not going to do it. And then we sent them to El Salvador. Venezuela says now you can resume the flights
Right,
to us.
because so when I was writing my dissertation, I came across the CECOT. Man, that's an acronym and a half,
Steve.
right?
Right.
And that's the cruelest prison in the world with the most active human rights violations in there. So if you've ever looked up CECOT, it's a lot going on there.
You're right,
So-
though. It says the government of El Salvador has not taken back the immigrants, so no money has crossed hands.
So weird.
So that's the
Right?
latest.
Like, are we?
You're going to have to stay up to date. I mean,
It
if you
changes
can.
from day to
Good
day.
luck.
Right, if I can stay up
We
to
can't
date
stay-
on all
we
this
can't stay up to
trauma,
date.
like
You up to take a call?
absolutely.
Okay, we got a gentleman on the line here.
It's Steve.
Hello, Steve-O. What's up?
Good morning, guys. How
Good
y'all doing today?
morning.
Fine. You got a
Fine.
question for Rebecca?
Actually, more of a comment than a question.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I hear your frustration, and I understand, and I think a lot of people are feeling frustrated. I believe it's because these representatives don't have answers for your questions. I believe they're in the dark just as much as everybody else. When you ask about how they're going to shut down the Department of Education, nobody really knows.
Right.
Right.
When you say all these other programs are going to be picked up by other departments, what departments? And the people who are in these programs are pretty nervous about if this is going to cause a disruption.
Right,
But there's
absolutely.
nobody who's got any answers.
See, I think we've all come to the conclusion we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, it
That's the
changes
bottom line.
day to day.
Right. And I think
Well, and I was going to say, I know y'all have seen these Republicans in these town hall meetings, and these people are asking honest questions, and they're not giving them any kind of answer. They're giving them the Republican talking points. And
I have no
people
clue.
are getting upset over that. So it only stands to reason that these Republicans, if they're going to have town halls, they're going to start trying to do what they can to mitigate that, to try and control the narrative. Some of them can't even speak at the town hall. The people are so upset.
Yeah,
so
that's
irate.
that's a
I
problem with a
understand
public
that.
town hall too.
right.
And I understand that that's dysfunctional, and people are upset. But I agree with you. It should be done in a calm manner. Emotions
agree.
never really
Right.
solve problems.
Right.
It's a
Generally
good
creative.
motivator, but it's not a good problem solver.
I think a group like Rebecca's part of here, I think an
Yes.
organization like that,
Right.
if you put a united front and you do it in a rational manner, you probably could get a lot further than having just
I
a
agree.
wide open town meeting that some of the extreme radical, and we got a couple of extreme radical Republicans around this neck of the woods, right, Steve? That's rabid, I should call, not radical, they're rabid.
Hey.
That they would come in and just be absolutely crazy.
Right.
You know,
And
we watched that happen.
And I was going to say, I'm not a fan of Greg Murphy either. I think he gaslights his constituents. I've seen him do, even in normal times, what you're saying, the political two-step, where somebody asks him a question and he does a circle and winds up answering something that he asked.
Mhm.
Seen him do it many times. So I understand your frustration on that one. And I'm not trying to comment on the man personally. Don't really know him personally. If you look at his bio, it looks like he, has done a lot of good work. Yeah. So I would at least like to say that part about it.
Okay.
But I understand the frustration, and I would say to Miss Rebecca that them avoiding your questions is an answer in itself.
Right, right. No answer is an answer. And it's unfortunate
Right.
because, like, if you don't, so this kind of goes back to the town hall answer on the Department of Education. I would have rather heard him say that that's a great question. I'm really not quite sure on how, how the Department of Education works, but I'll get back to you on that, right? There's nothing wrong with admitting that you don't have all the answers right now. It's how you deal with answering the question.
I think Steve and Lee and I would agree to the point that, that is a response that sometimes has been overused and it's become very ineffective. I don't really have the answer right now, but I'll get the answer and I'll get back to you because they never do.
Right. Well, and that's where
the
the
problem.
follow through. And I think that's the problem. Like Lee was talking about, they took all these questions afterwards, which who knows how many people, because I was in the queue too. I didn't end up leaving it. I just emailed him about it. Right.
Well, I didn't stay in it after that. I was like, done.
Yeah, done. But, how long does it take? But if he was putting more information, even if he had, just once a day constituent question, right? Anonymous, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
here's the answer on his social media. I think that would make people feel a little bit better that he was listening or that his staff was listening.
I got an idea you can suggest. Why don't you do a question of the day? Respond to a
Ooh.
question of the, call it the question of the day,
Excellent.
Here's today's question.
I will say in defense, and I'm only saying this as not a reason not to answer, because I agree. Question of the day are putting a synopsis of what happened at the town hall, what was asked. Like I told you, I had all those pages. I hope I didn't throw it away. And his answers, which a lot of them thoroughly satisfied me. I think we're so new into this shakeup that nobody really knows what's going to end up happening. But I just want to ask you one thing, though. Have you tried going through Tillis or Ted Budd?
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
getting the same reactions from them?
Yes, absolutely. And, Tillis, it's a hit or miss on whether or not you actually get a person.
Right.
We did connect on Ukraine. So that was awesome.
Well, that's
Senator Tillis supports Ukraine. And I was like, yay. So I keep, every time I write him,
Right.
I thank you for your support for Ukraine. And then Ted Budd, I have not, so we call every single day. None of us have gotten a person in over a month.
One time I've had him on the air.
Okay.
One time.
Ted Budd.
Senator Ted Budd,
That's
we
when
need
he
you
was
on the
running,
air
huh?
then.
I had him on the air one
Yeah.
time.
He's
in
doing
the
his
beginning,
tour of 100 counties right now.
before he was senator. He was
I
campaigning.
saw that.
Oh,
That
he
was
was
the
getting,
only
see,
time
that's
that I've had him on the
always
air.
the reason.
I requested, but I ain't got nowhere. So it's not you. It's
I'll
me.
never
Right.
forget the night I met him, and I had probably had too much wine, and I
Oh, my.
didn't call him Ted Budd. I called him Mark Walker. I said, "Hey, Mark."
Does
goes,
he look
"No,
like Mark Walker?
I'm Ted." Well, only after a glass of wine or two.
Okay, all right. I mean,
It was a long time ago. I don't do that anymore. So
Really?
yeah. I probably didn't leave a good impression on them. At that
Did you leave your real name?
No, I took my name tag off real quick
I was
too.
going to say you should have changed it.
Took that off.
Steve, thank you. Any other questions
you,
for
Steve.
Rebecca or comments?
I don't, but I would like to make one last comment before I get off here about something y'all said first thing this morning. I think it's a public service announcement.
Oh, about
I'm
burning
talking about the
your
mosquitoes.
house down?
The mosquitoes.
Oh, skeeters?
Mosquitoes.
About the
Oh,
mosquitoes,
Yeah.
especially in Lee's situation.
Yes.
What I would do in that situation is get me a bucket and a gallon of vegetable oil and fill that bucket up and take you about 4 or 5 pine cones and soak them in that vegetable oil and then throw them in that ditch, and it'll put a thin layer of vegetable oil on top of the water, and the mosquitoes their wings won't dry out. They can't fly away. They'll die right there on top.
goodness.
Now,
Is vegetable oil environmentally?
Yes, it's good. It's not a problem.
Okay, so I won't get a visit from the city.
No, no, you're not going to tell them anyway, are you?
They know now.
honestly, Jacksonville has a mosquito squad,
Yes,
they
I
do.
know. Yes.
and if you call them, they will come out and they will treat your area. I believe.
I'm gonna try the buckets.
you're
I'm gonna
inside
try the
Jacksonville.
pine cones. That sounds pretty cool.
I use vegetable oil because it's organic and
Yes.
it's less
Yeah.
environmentally. In the old days, they soaked them in motor oil, and that won't good.
No,
Oh, my
don't do
goodness.
that.
Yeah,
do
don't
that.
dump
That's
motor
expensive
oil.
too.
Oh,
Don't do that.
later
Yeah,
on, yeah.
use vegetable
Okay.
oil.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I'd never heard that, but for you to go for it.
Yes. Steve, that reminds me.
That's the mosquitoes thing.
I'm going to send you a link to a guy called the Millennial Gardener. I sent it to Rayford. He's right from this area. Yeah. Do you watch
I'm
him?
already very familiar with him.
Yeah, he is good.
He's
Yeah.
full of himself, but he's good.
I like him, and he answered a lot of questions on squash on his video he did last night. So, yeah,
I'll have to look.
that's the one I sent you.
Okay.
I'll fact check everybody, and he's accurate. So
I
that's
know he is,
yes.
but he's still.
Was it?
he is.
Come on.
He's a transplant. He ain't.
He's a Rhode Islander or something,
He's
right?
cute.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
Steve, do not agree with her on that. If you agree with her on that, you and I are going to fight.
I like him. He's cute in the sense
I
he's
can
very.
understand why she might think that.
Oh, okay.
So he is
I'll go
cute,
that
huh?
far.
I'm going to have to watch
Yeah.
this now.
in
Oh,
his
God.
in the way he talks and his smile and it just it makes I watch him. Okay, that's all I'm
I
gonna
might
say.
need to watch him too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
He
I'll
has a
send you
very
the link.
warm personality, even though he could
Yes, that's what I mean. I
About,
don't find him arrogant at all.
It turns her on when he's arrogant.
All right, we're gonna go back to what we were talking about.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome, guys. Y'all have a blessed
Thanks, Steve.
bye.
Wow. You guys just can't stand it when there's another man in the picture.
You need to have him on your show.
There is
I know.
Oh, she would fangirl so hard.
I thought about that
You missed what
last
I
You
said.
need
night.
to invite him.
I know, really.
You missed what I said.
What?
There is no other man in the picture.
Oh my goodness. Poor guy. Got so beat up over squash today.
Okay.
All right, Rebecca.
Man.
Well, you've given us a lot this
Yes.
morning. Yes.
All right. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Been
unusual,
Appreciate
I'm
you
sure,
guys. Yeah.
And let's see, educational information
Demonstration.
demonstration.
Right, I
or
like that.
Assembly or whatever.
Well, I will say that, from what little bit I've seen, because you're fairly new, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen very peaceful groups. Were you out there with some of the folks from our post office the other day?
I was not. No, that was organized by the NCAFL-CIO. That's their union.
Then NLAC, the NALC, National Association of Letter Carriers.
LCs.
Yeah, National Association of Letter Carriers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, union.
When
Yeah, I
did
knew
they change
most
the
of those
name of
people.
male to something other than male?
Well,
Those
We
women work
needed
there
to be
too now.
female, right?
I had a sign that
Absolutely.
used to say U.S. female on my car. Just as such. Never mind, we're getting way off. Okay. Anyway, yeah, but I mean, I think peaceful educational gatherings are a good thing. I like seeing that. And it involves people from all walks, all political parties. I like that. because you're registered as a Democrat,
That's correct. Yeah,
and so but you're working alongside registered Republicans.
absolutely.
See, so I think that's cool.
Okay. I'm like a winner. Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
winner.
Thanks
we
so much.
appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And come out tomorrow to Mission Barbecue from 10 to
No, Wednesday.
That's tomorrow.
Today's-
That is tomorrow.
Yeah, today's
I guess
Tuesday.
it is. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
I missed
The
the day.
Reese Across America bus is going to be there. Very
From
educational.
10 until 4.
Yeah,
All
10
right,
to
They've
I
got
will
their
be
big bus, which
there.
is actually a tractor trailer rig or something.
Tells about the
a big
history of the
bunch of stuff.
Reeves and what they do for the veterans, et cetera, et cetera.
And there
So-
was a gentleman who spoke at the Onslow County Commissioners.
yeah, that's
He's
Chris.
Chris Mark.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
did
this-
a really fantastic
Yeah,
job
he will be
talking
here
about it.
tomorrow.
So that's definitely
He will be here
we've got to
tomorrow.
support and get enough wreaths for
Yes,
our
yes.
veterans.
He's on the road. He's making
Yes.
it happen. And,
In fact, I've been talking to him. He's going to call in a little bit. That's who he's been texting me. But thank goodness he picked up the slack because it's somebody, needed to get out there and start working at it from
Mhm.
January 1st
Yep.
all the way through. And I know that we will have enough reefs to cover this
one
year.
way or the other.
Yeah, we're going to make
We
it.
may be
Make it
making them in here, but
We're a
we'll have-
proud sponsor of Chris's group, and we enjoy working with him over that. And that's him calling right now.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Rebecca. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Oh my goodness gracious! What a lot we have covered here this morning already. So, Chris, you're awake.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
And good morning to you guests. I'm doing great. Great lead in. Thank you.
See, I just knew you were
in
going to
town.
call.
Yeah, the bus arrived last night.
Yay!
And it's
Yeah.
actually just a little bit, as I was telling Lee last night, the bus drivers, for lack of a better term, the family that takes care of the bus and the exhibit are Gold Star family
Oh, really?
members.
Wow!
How cool is that?
Wow.
And I'm hoping we're going to be able to have them on the show tomorrow.
Good.
They're pretty excited. So yeah, everything is looking very good for tomorrow. Hopefully the winds will not be too bad.
Not looking real
or-
bad tomorrow. It's looking fairly decent weather-wise all the way through tomorrow.
It is.
Wonderful.
High is 71. Perfect.
Oh, perfect. It is going to be perfect out there.
Mhm.
And the gentlemen, they arrived last night. I'm getting ready to go by and pick them up and do some logistic looks. And they're excited about being on the show tomorrow. They actually,
Great.
this is what they do, and they don't get paid. But this is what they do year round, is take this exhibit
Wow!
throughout the United States.
Cool.
And I can't wait to personally meet them today and have them on the show tomorrow. But I did want to take this opportunity, since you folks were kind enough to lead into it, is that the event is tomorrow, 10 until 4 at Missions Barbecue. We will be taking payments, or however you want to make your donations, to purchase wreaths. Live and Local Real Talk will be out there. We also have some other medias that picked up on it,
Good.
and they're going to be out there.
Mhm.
And just looking for a great time. And Sergeant Major Joe Hool will be out there.
Oh my!
Love him.
Good old Joe.
Love him.
Mhm.
Yeah, Joe will be out there, and big supporter of Wreaths Across America.
Yes.
Interesting. He remembers the way it was in the previous some of the previous celebrations.
Yeah, I think he used to work
that-
real hard with Pat Walker when she
Yeah,
raised
Yeah, he did.
money for it. So
Yes,
Joe's
yes, he
everywhere.
did. He has
Yeah,
got
he is
both of
everywhere.
Yes.
He is everywhere, as is Live and Local Real Talk, and as I try to be.
You are.
I'm getting ready to go out, trying to get out right now to hit the schools with our Crime Stop fundraiser, to really concentrate right now on the wreath. So we will be out there. For folks that don't know, Missions Barbecue is right next to Marine Chevrolet.
Yes.
On Western Boulevard.
Weston Boulevard.
Boulevard.
Right next, everybody knows we're Starbucks. Say Starbucks, not Marine Chevrolet.
Okay, it's Starbucks, right?
I don't know what Starbucks is.
Everybody knows
I
Starbucks.
do not. I'm one of those everybody's that doesn't know.
On the other side of the store is the mattress store. You got
Yeah, and
Starbucks
then-
Mission mattress.
and the bus will be sort of a place between Missions and the mattress store,
Yes.
facing the road, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful
is
sight.
beautiful.
And I'm just so excited and looking forward to tomorrow. Forward to seeing you folks out there. And my thanks again to Tim for his donation for kissing and licking. I think.
Oh, kissing and telling.
Kissing and telling, kissing, licking. It was one of them.
Oh, that's just
but anyway,
not right, Chris.
You might want to stop
they
talking
did
now.
make the.
Okay, Chris,
yeah,
you better put Stephanie on the phone.
Oh, no. Yeah, Stephanie just gave me the look. So
I bet she did.
But yeah, we're looking forward to it. Great show, and just looking forward to everybody being out at the big celebration tomorrow with the mobile exhibit. It's going to be awesome.
All right, looking forward to it. And we'll see you in
Thank you,
here
folks.
tomorrow morning, too.
Yes.
Yep.
Chris is going to be
Okay,
bringing them
sounds
in.
good.
Sound like a winner. Thank you,
I'll
sir.
bring these guys in.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Talk to you
Take
later.
care.
Call me
Bye-bye.
later.
Okay.
Offshore today, winds out of the northwest, 10 to 15 knots, becoming easterly this afternoon. 5 to 10 going to come down, and then we'll switch around to the south a little bit later on. Seas 4 to 6 feet. This morning, they're 4 to 6. They're coming down in the afternoon, 2 to 3, which is good. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop this afternoon. And tomorrow, up northwesterly winds 10 to 15, seas 2 to 3, sounds and rivers a moderate chop. Thursday, northerly winds 10 to 15, becoming northeasterly 5 to 10 in the afternoon, 2 to 3 footers, sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon.
Kind of a nice weekend for boating, huh?
This part of the week is going to be great.
I think
Leading
Monday's-
into it, we'll see.
Yeah, Monday there's some storms coming across the states, and I think that we may get some rain Monday, but severe weather coming from across the states. So far, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, today sunny with a high near 74 and calm winds.
Yep.
Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 48.
If they're
Wednesday,
calm, are they really
sunny.
winds?
Yeah, I know 6 to 8 is nothing.
Doesn't sound right.
Right. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 71.
Okay.
Thursday, sunny, high near 67. And Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 75. Yeah.
Yay. We have heard a lot about this thing called Doge,
Doge.
Doge,
Doge.
and some claims that Elon Musk-led group has found a lot of waste involving federal tax dollars, our money. That's what we're hearing, right? One thing you might not know is that some of the waste is criminal in nature. In other words, it's intentional thievery.
I want to know.
At least that's what the U.S. Attorney General is saying. At a cabinet meeting yesterday, AG Pam Bondi said that investigations uncovering fraud will be prosecuted. Okay, you find waste, that's one thing. You find fraud,
All right.
that's something else. According to Bondi, a lot of fraud, stuff that is illegal, has already been unveiled. Good. Maybe those who thought they could get away with what amounts to stealing will end up having to pay the price. Something else they might want to consider before they get on a bus and leave town, or maybe get on an airplane and go over there where, what's her name? Whoopi is hanging out. If found guilty of a crime, a judge can order restitution, meaning that the organization or organizations involved will have to pay the money back to us. That's kind of like just finding a windfall somewhere, right?
Right.
The AG's office has already started the criminal part of this mess. A task force has been appointed. The coming months are going to be very interesting. Let's just put it that way. If they start finding that waste, that it's not just waste, could be a problem
Yeah.
for somebody. Hopefully.
I really would like, I know they've talked about waste, but we, the American people, we would like to have a bullet chart,
Yep.
something showing this is what we found, this is what we've done. Yes, we did find criminal wrongdoing here, there. I mean, and maybe it's too soon to be asking for that, but to stand up there and say, we just found $400 million worth of bad spending. And we want to see it. We want to know. We just don't want to hear that you keep finding it. We want to know what it is.
Yeah, well,
Curiosity.
They find well. They just appointed this, formed up a task force, right? Put them
Right.
together. So when they get allegations, it's kind of like you go to the investigators open up a case, right? Cops open up a case, and you don't hear a whole lot about it until they find out that this is really something that did occur.
Right.
And then you find out a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, because investigation is one of those things that takes time.
Well,
Just say, oh, we hear that. No, we don't want to know. I don't care what you hear. We hear too much of what you hear. We want to know, what do you know? What have you found? So just saying it, yeah, that doesn't mean much.
well,
a whole bunch to me.
I think also that the administration has gone in fast and furious.
Yeah.
And where Trump was like, I'm closing this one down and getting rid of it. And then as things start progressing, we're finding out, no, they're not closing it down completely. They're revamping it. They're taking out waste. I think everything has been so misleading and people are getting upset.
That's like of all the employees nationwide with the post office.
Yes.
We did the math yesterday. Slightly over 1%, 1.3% or 1.2%.
Right.
Of that workforce is not needed, according to the postmaster
But
general.
let me say something on that. The 10,000 that he was talking about cutting from the post office are people that are eligible for retirement, and they're going to give them an incentive
Yep.
to go ahead and retire.
Yep.
And so people, when they said 10,000 jobs from the post office, like you said, 625,000 employees from the post office, and you multiplied it out of the 10,000, 1.2.
Yeah.
So we're all getting worked up too fast.
Well, now that's all true. They're going to get paid. They're not just cutting them loose. If they're going to retire, they're going to retire. Got it.
Right.
But they're not going to be replaced.
No.
That's where the cut is. It's not that the individuals, they don't care about individuals, they care about numbers. They're going to reduce the workforce by maybe 10,000. I don't know. That was a rough figure thrown out there.
Right.
In Jacksonville, we'll lose one person,
Maybe. Right.
if at all.
Right.
So, I mean, somebody might be retired and they just don't fill the vacancy. That's the way it works. I know somebody that's going to be retiring shortly.
Yes.
And
Well, let me explain something too. You don't necessarily have to have a carrier for every single route in your office.
Nope.
There's been a lot of days. You ever wonder why sometimes, probably not you, but me, I know, sometimes you don't get your mail to 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
it's happened, yes.
And it's
because
not
they
your
have to-
regular mailman.
Well, yes, and sometimes it is my regular mailman. He may have had to do another route earlier.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes they'll take, like, say you have one route that you have absolutely nobody to cover that route. So they divide that route up into like 5-hour into 1 hour increments. So they get like 4 different people. Say you take an hour here, you take an hour there. And so generally they can do it before they start their regular route, and they can do it in the middle of their route. They can go off and go do that, come back, or they can do it afterwards. But there are ways to save money and to save time. And I find the biggest issue with the post office and the amount of money that they pay out is through union grievances. I saw one that was settled here in Jacksonville by a interim postmaster that cost over $30,000, which, in my opinion,
That's a lot
should
of
have never been
stamps.
done.
A lot of stamps.
Right. So the unions play a big role, just as other organizations or other manufacturing plants or whatever have unions. So.
Well, federal
So waste.
prosecutors have been given some marching orders, some new ones.
Right.
During the cabinet meeting yesterday, Attorney General Bondi said that all U.S. attorneys in this country, they work for her, by the way,
Right.
who are prosecuting federal criminal acts that result in death, those attorneys will now be seeking the death penalty again.
What?
Yep. If you have committed a federal crime that results in death,
Oh, okay. I
First
missed
degree
that part.
murder.
I missed that part. Yes.
then they're going to seek the death penalty. You may recall that all of the people on death row, or federal death row, except one, was pardoned just before, not pardoned, or their sentences were commuted just before President Biden left office.
Right.
There's only one person on death row, federal death row right now. The option for the death penalty remains on the books, always has been there. It's just that no prosecuting attorneys were allowed to go after it. Okay, that's well and good. That's well and good on the federal level. Maybe they will get some and zap them. We got a lot of people in North Carolina, all states, got a lot of people, vicious criminals who should be on death row, but not for long. They are waiting for the day that their numbers will be picked. In North Carolina and some other states too. They're just bunches of them. Here in the Tar Heel state, they just sit there and they wait. And they wait. No one has been executed in a long time. People on death row, the only way they get off death row is by dying, natural causes. Perhaps our legislature should get off the pot, since our governor will not. Our legislature, the House and the Senate, need to get together and come up with some kind of a plan that you can only be on death row for a certain period of time and then you're going to be executed. Not just after all appeals are exhausted. There should not be a limitless number of appeals for somebody on death row. Did they get a fair trial? Okay, no errors? Got it. Did the crime, was it enough of a crime to fit the very narrow scope that death penalties are given? One is murder, of course. Well, murder, somebody said, God, that guy was shot 12 times. Well, the first bullet killed him. The others are not heinous.
Right.
The others are just a waste of bullets.
Right.
So he gets shot 12 times. Is that a heinous act that requires you to give him the death penalty? Not necessarily. If you torture somebody, if you hold them and you kidnap them and you do all this other good stuff and you start shooting their toes off one at a time, yeah, and then you kill them, that's a different story. That is vicious.
Yes.
You understand? Torture leading up to death and should be tried accordingly and should be awarded accordingly. A problem that we have at this point in time, our liberal, and he should not be liberal, even though he's a Democrat. He should not be able to say he's liberal. He was the Attorney General. He was the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of North Carolina, Josh Stein. Did nothing when he was there that I know of.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
And now he's the governor.
Right.
I don't think he's doing anything there either,
Sure.
but you can rest assured.
I was trying to turn your phone on. I thought it was mine.
Oh.
I thought it buzzed. That's yours. That's mine.
As the Attorney General, he was privy to all of the viciousness that individuals did.
Right.
I'm not sure why he, as the AG, would not have gone after these individuals who are awaiting their day with the death chamber. They should.
Well,
If we could legally, and we did so properly,
Excuse me.
execute a grandmother who had killed her live-in boyfriend by poisoning him a little bit at a time for an extended period of time, and then we finally got around, she was found guilty. It was torture. And then we executed Velma Margie Barfield.
Well,
Rightfully so.
him
I was
doing
there.
that. Oh, yeah, that was a crazy one. Him doing that does not align with his political side. And
Then
I'm
you
telling
need to leave your political credentials at the
No,
door
it's
on the
not
day that
gonna
you are
happen.
elected to office or the day that you take office. There should be no more politics.
people want to talk about different congressmen, senators, people of the United States Congress not bucking something that the president has done. It's not the way it works. It's just not the way it works.
It's politics.
That's just
And I
right.
hate them.
And not saying this is politics, because in no way is it politics. But whenever we elect a new sheriff in Onslow County, he can walk in and fire everybody in there and hire new.
They are basically fired. because
That's
they have
right.
to be
They have to
resworn
be
in,
resworn in.
rehired.
But do you think if I'm a Republican and I have a Republican president and he does something that I don't agree with, do you think I'm going to stand out there on mass media and texts and town halls and say, I don't like him. I think he's doing a crappy job. I don't agree with anything. Do you think that's going to happen?
The person that agrees with everything that anybody else does is a silly person and a liar.
That's right. I agree. But they're not going to sit there but you have people who believe in they should. They should. But it's never going to change. Hopefully it'll get better. We'll
Good
see.
old Hunter had a bunch of business partners, right? One of his business partners, ex-business partner now, says the Biden administration, screwed him over.
Well,
A guy named Archer, I forgot his first name, served on the board of Ukrainian energy company Burisma, along with Hunter. He told investigators that Hunter put Hunter's father, then the vice president, his name is Joe Biden, on speakerphone at business meetings 10 to 20 times during that period of time. Although he noted, Archer said, nothing of material was discussed. It doesn't matter. The influence was there. Just his presence was there. You may recall that the ex-president has maintained that he had not even met any of Hunter's business partners, even though he was shown on a golf course with this guy, Mr. Archer, along with Hunter playing golf, and that he knew nothing about Hunter's businesses, even his monkey businesses. Archer told a reporter that Biden, Joe, not Hunter, would end every meeting and say, "You do a favor for me, you're my friend. You do a favor for my son, you're a friend for life." House Republicans investigated allegations of influence peddling on behalf of the Biden family throughout much of the 46th president's time in office, including launching an impeachment inquiry. The House Oversight Committee said Bidens and their associates received over $20 million in payments from foreign entities between 2015 and 2017. Archer was convicted alongside others by a federal jury back in 2018 of defrauding a Native American tribe in a scheme that involved the issuance and sale of fraudulent tribal bonds.
Wow.
He was sentenced to a year and a day in prison. Pretty cheap, I think, and had his conviction overturned and then reinstated in 2020. The Supreme Court rejected his appeal last year. The 2022 sentence was overturned on a technicality, and Archer is scheduled to be resentenced later this year. That is not going to happen. Trump indicated over the weekend that he's going to pardon Archer, saying that he got screwed over by the Biden administration. A little bit of payback. Wrong. Let the court system do its job.
Yes.
Just because he may have been screwed over by the Biden administration on whatever the Burisma crap was or anything else, that's got nothing to do with screwing over the Indians.
Seriously, I understand.
Why are you going to pardon him for something like that?
I don't know. I don't. A lot of things
pardons
happen.
I don't like.
I don't care who you are.
Right up front, they should be. Should go before a board.
A lot of crazy things that go on that I don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah,
I know we got to go real quick, but I just want to ask you a question.
7.
It's if you are traveling and you're on an airplane and you're a little ways towards your destination and you realize that you forgot your passport, would you expect the pilot to turn around and take you back?
Of course, if it was an airplane that I hired and I owned a plane.
We're talking about a Boeing 787 by United Airlines.
No.
Got over the Pacific Ocean heading to China and turned around and landed back in San Francisco because someone had forgotten the pilot.
Whoops.
Yeah. Needless to say, they had a new crew awaiting to take the passengers
I would hope so.
back on their trip again.
And first place, you can get there and go straight to the embassy. You can make that request, and
That's
you
what
can
I
you
just
can
like.
get a temporary.
And
On
it
the
seems
spot.
like if you're the pilot of the plane, when you go to another country, do they come on board to look at your passport? Or, I mean,
Well, you got to get off the plane at some point in time,
right.
and then you're going to have to go through.
But
And
why can't you? You would think that if he went through customs or he had to show his passport, that he could get the airlines to fax him something to get him by. I don't
Well,
know.
airlines doesn't count. That's an employer. That's a private company.
Well, look, if he's
But you
wearing the
can-
captain's.
You can go to the. I can wear a captain's uniform too. That don't make me no captain. You know, I could be impersonating. We wouldn't do it if he was coming into this country. Another pilot from China coming into this country didn't have a passport. Are we going to question him? Absolutely. You know, there's some.
I would guess
something wrong
so.
in Denmark, Bubba.
The tip is whenever you're traveling, make sure you have your passport.
Yeah, and when you go fishing, take your fishing license.
Yes,
Duh.
that would be advice.
Same
You're
thing.
driving, make sure you have your driver's
Yeah,
license.
duh.
Oh, I left it at home. I know my number by heart, so just in case I ever do accidentally forget it,
Yeah.
I know my number.
They will double check you, make sure you're who you say you are. You know, do you have a library card on you? Do you
Frisk
have
me.
any?
Pat me down. Yeah, I don't mind. Okay, we've got to go, don't we?
It's too late for that. Okay. We will see you tomorrow morning. We're going to have some fine folks in here.
Yes.
We've also got Dr. Rose and Peter Wright. Mr. Wright will be in here. So we've got that's going on for us tomorrow morning early. Then we also have some folks from this
Reese Across America
Reese Across America.
paying a special visit to us.
Yeah, what?
They're paying a special visit to us
Yeah,
tomorrow.
they're not going to drive their bus over.
They may be driving the bus
That
over
would be
here.
cool.
Park it
Right
in
out
your
there.
driveway.
Park it right out there on the road. It'd be fine.
Yes,
A couple of
yes.
wheels off. You'd be
And
right.
they'll be let in by, of course, Chris Marks,
Chris Marks will be here.
who him and his wife have worked so hard
Oh,
on
yeah.
getting reefs
Sounds
this
like-
year. So
All
thank
right,
you
we
for
will
that.
see you in the morning, 7:00.
Yep.
So join us and be safe out there, please. You're live and local. We're awake. Sort of. I need to go take a nap, but
Yeah.
not what. Bye.